Hello, welcome back. It's the last time we'll talk about '05 ever. It's gone after this. Apparently, it's gone forever. What do you think about that, Puddy? What do you think about?
Yeah, I've had to contractually agree to never speak about anything from '05 ever again after today. So
Yeah, we've eliminated '05 from our brains. Um, do we want to kick off just by hitting next and doing a little react?
I think that's as good of an idea as any.
There we go. Oh, oh.
A Japanese guy or Brock Lesnar?
Definitely just a Japanese guy.
Who's our top guy? It's gonna be
Sean.
Triple H.
I'm calling Sean.
Okay. We might tag team of the year is gonna be Ken and Brock.
Oh yeah, definitely Ken and Brock.
Yeah. We'll get all the comms and announcers and
Exactly.
referees
Manager,
and stuff.
I'm sure. Yeah. All that stuff.
I hope Paul wins it. That would be a good win for Paul.
Would be a good win for Paul.
Yeah, worthwhile. He's had a good year.
Here we go.
The game is currently loading.
Oh my god.
Ken Shamrock!
Big fucking Ken!
Oh my! I was thinking maybe, but surely not.
I was like,
wow.
Wow, hold on. Let's check out Ken's 2005, 140 wins, 40 losses, an average rating of 84.
Go to his top hundreds or whatever it is.
That's a good call. That's a good call. Top 25, you mean.
Cool.
There we go.
So the Brock tag team into feud is really what set off the Ken Suzuki? Ken Suzuki? Ken Shamrock's year.
Yeah.
There are some bangers in here. LA Park, Ken Shamrock, and Brock Lesnar versus Kota Ibushi, Hiroyoshi Tenzan, and Yuji Nagata.
Jesus.
Bandcamp. A legendary match with Bandcamp.
Vader and Chono.
Josh Barnett got onto this list.
Yep. Nakamura's on there, teaming with Kota.
I see it.
Goldbushi is down there. Goldberg and Kota.
Goldbushi. That's the best thing I've heard.
My God,
all right.
Sato Tanaka even fucking slides in down here. Oh my God. Well, there we are. Wrestler of the year at 41.
And his best years are still ahead of him.
Oh yeah. Company of the year. Who else?
It's got to be us.
Who
Surely.
Else? Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what you like to see. Tag team of the year. It's Brock and Ken. Like it's.
Yeah.
Brock and Ken.
Yeah.
Second tag team of the year award.
Wow.
Match of the year.
Brock and Ken. Yeah.
No.
Super Crazy and Ultimo Guerrero versus Heat and Ikuto Hidaka.
Ah, yes.
What a... It happened in December. That's outside the voting period.
Yeah, wait a damn minute. Hold on here. Can we, Oh, there it is. It's literally, right there. It just happened. Recency bias.
Ken stunk up the joint on the main event, so...
Yep.
Because he was leaving.
Show of the year.
Wait, can we check Kenzo's accomplishments real quick before we... No, Ken's accomplishments before we move on?
Sure.
Because I want to see, obviously, and I've memed a lot about his Best of Super Juniors win. But what else has he got? Is this new? Has this changed?
Yeah, this is achievements.
Oh, I want to see title history. Cool. So he never won the IWGP title off of Brock, or off of anyone for that matter. And they never won the IWGP tag titles either. So, bit of a yikes run, honestly.
Bit of a yikes run.
Underrated wrestler of the year, Ken Shamrock.
Show of the year?
I think this might be us.
WrestleMania, maybe? Yep, WrestleMania 21.
It's all the special set and celebrities.
So we're going to immediately sign the Young Wrestler of the Year, right? Because that's how this works.
Yeah, definitely. It's not going to be Kota Ibushi.
Veteran Wrestler of the Year?
Hold on a second, player.
Japan.
No, maybe.
Vader.
But I think Rick's got a chance.
Vader.
Okay.
Vader.
Oh,
Female Wrestler of the Year?
that's got to be one of our gals, surely.
You'd think.
Trish, maybe?
Trish.
Yeah. Yeah.
I was hoping for Nat, actually.
Yeah,
I was
me
gonna
too.
pop massive if I saw Nat. Most improved company. You bastards!
I mean, can we lie? Can we deny Rob Van Dam? No, he went to Mexico. Christian went there, I think, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Christian. They got Bradshaw. They got
Killers Row.
Is it just those two?
Raven. Jeff Jarrett. Independent Wrestler of the Year. Oh.
Nope.
Apparently I skipped the color commentator, and it's not Jerry. It's this guy. I don't even know who the fuck this guy is. What's his number? What's his number? 89. Okay, you know what? That's pretty good.
That's respectable, yeah.
Acceptable. Okay, back to Independent Wrestler of the Year. It's Styles.
Yep. Okay.
Yep, that makes sense. Man's working all over. Manager of the Year. Big Paul.
Come on.
Jim Cornette.
Jim Cornette. Nobody watches OVW.
Literally. What are they talking
I guess
about?
Maybe he's doing stuff in ROH.
Maybe. Announcer of the Year has to be JR.
No, I hope not. He had a bad year. Thank you, Joey.
Joey. Nice. We stole Joey last minute. Solid. Referee of the Year.
Probably one of our guys. Actually, I bet this is Japan.
Jimmy Corderas.
Jimmy Corderas?
That is a random one, but he does have 100 refereeing.
Oh my god.
And I think he's gained that 100 refereeing.
Well, after losing it.
Yes.
He had a bad April. You know, I guess the best referees are the ones that you never see. And I would never have thought of Jimmy, so.
It's perfect.
Yeah.
And big news for Monday Night Raw. We're off Spike TV.
We're coming home.
We're coming home. There it is. USA Network on a primetime slot.
For Homecoming Raw next time on Twitch.
Yep. What do we got here? Okay. Why did you stop doing your TV show, OBW? What's wrong? Okay, I'll do it for you. Just wait. Don't do anything crazy. I'll do it for you. Wait till I get there.
We're off TV, Vince. I'm going crazy.
Yeah, like okay, hold on. I'll do it for you. Bring back Amy Weber, I assume.
Are we? How attractive is Amy Weber?
85.
That's pretty good.
Yeah.
Her reputation's 100. Got good charisma. What the hell? Is she a regen?
No.
She's a real person.
Yeah, she's a real person.
Okay. She's really good.
Yeah, I don't know why.
But her color's 0.
Well, she's not a commentator.
Yeah, but if she's got charisma and microphone,
it's true.
I feel like she could work color.
It's true. Anyways, 1 year on Amy Weber.
Sure.
Fuck it.
Yeah, they can't have her. She could be a manager.
Yeah, she can. That's what she was in real life.
Oh. Who did she manage?
Bradshaw.
Did she really?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I remember now. She was their first PR person, right? And then they hired Jillian later.
Yeah. Bradshaw's gone. Al Snow's gone. We don't care.
There's a fucking area battle.
Oh yeah. There has been.
What? I haven't been kept up to date with this.
Yeah, because we always win. It doesn't matter.
I mean, the fact that it exists worries me.
It's just Japan.
Can we declare war? It's Japan. It's not even TNA.
No, it's just the Japanese. It doesn't matter.
That's even worse, Tucker. The Japanese are infiltrating our territory.
It's fine. It'll be. Don't worry. No, it's gonna be fine. I don't even know
I
how
wanna
you see regional battles anymore. Like,
go to Game World again. Oh, there it is.
Battles.
External battles. Yeah,
there it is.
it is TNA.
I think they've just broken in now with Bradshaw.
Man,
Because it said first of two.
Paul Heyman is one of our
Yeah, what the
stars.
fuck?
Also, wait, go back to USA.
Yeah.
Curry man.
Curry man.
That's the big get of two. That's the big news story of 2004.
I miss you, Dose. Yeah, it's literally just the three of us.
Okay. What options do we have available to us in the relationship screen?
Many.
TNA. Let's negotiate this. What? I like how it doesn't explain any of these things.
Yeah, it's just like, figure it out, forehead. Here we go.
War. I want to see war.
War.
A war is considered to be active if one or both companies have declared it. In most cases, a war will be mutual. Okay. If the company goes bankrupt, any company that are war gets a boost to their locker room morale.
Fuck them.
What's hostile attitude then?
It's what we have right now at the end.
I know. I want to see what it does.
Nothing.
Nothing. Okay.
Because this game is fun.
But we can do. Are dirty tricks still in the game?
Yes.
We
Yes,
sure?
they are. Yep.
Can I see evidence of that?
Yes.
Thank you.
We could just do them, by the way.
Oh,
We don't even have to be a war, apparently.
interesting.
Fuck 'em.
Can we press the question mark here?
Yes. No.
Okay, maybe if we click on one of them, it'll tell us. No, like in
Oh.
if we go to like maybe if we click on.
I don't think so. I think it's just gonna do it.
Hold on. Let's go to sponsor attack and let's click on it because even if we do it, I'd be okay with that.
What do you think, buddy? You think it's telling you?
Press the question mark.
Really? There's nothing in here about fucking. That's insane. Why is there nothing written in here about dirty tricks?
Okay, let's go to the sponsors and tell them that we will not work with them if they continue working with TNA.
Amazing. Let's do it.
Let's do it, yeah.
Done.
You will see the results of your action soon.
So ominous. Oh my god.
It never works out well, I'm sure.
What are these?
Yeah, I was about to say. Reversals.
Hey, it's fucking
I recognize that
Ricky
face.
Ortiz, I think, or something like that. Holy fuck.
That guy looks like he has star quality. Show me his stats.
Big boy alert. 70.
Ooh,
Oh,
that
yeah.
is a reasonable amount. He's not atrocious.
Atlas DeBone.
He is, though, a scumbag.
He's 30.
That's old.
Yeah, I think maybe not on Ricky Ortiz.
I think 1 year dev,
works for
and then
me.
send him to the indies.
Works for me. What is this? Oh, what the fuck? Randomly got an email from Patreon just now that was like, what did that say? It said, Patreon's chief people officer on purpose-driven work. I'm like, did I Did I ask? Like, what the fuck?
Askers?
Yeah, like, huh?
Hello?
Who? Who?
You should just reply to the email saying ratioed.
Ratioed. I like that.
Yeah.
Didn't ask plus ratio plus use
Yep.
now.
Plus hold the L.
Yep. I like it.
Yep.
There we go. Atlas Devone.
Okay. Let's go through the rest of the top 500, right?
Yes.
We need to... Actually, rather than the rest of it, let's first take a quick look at the top and then filter by our guys.
These are our guys.
There's Shawn Michaels. You were correct. I wasn't far off. Oh.
Hoda.
Ibushi. Shawn, the only one of our guys. No, that's not true. Shawn, one of only 2 of our guys to crack the top 10.
Yep.
You were actually wrong. It wasn't Shawn. And we should have known this. It was Eddie Guerrero.
Oh, I didn't even see Eddie there.
He wasn't in that first filter because he's not working for us.
He's not working for us because he's fucking dead. Anyways.
Well deserved. He went up as well.
The placement or the death?
Oh, jeez, don't make me laugh. I've got a migraine. Ooh.
So, yeah.
Any standouts here? Super Crazy is interesting.
Oh, yeah.
I know we got an eye on him anyway, but what's his contract status?
He's written with Japan for
2.5 years.
2.5 years.
Ah! We fucked up. We really should have grabbed those guys.
Probably, yeah. Yeah, we don't need to look at our guys here. I just need to... Who else we got here?
Christopher Daniels.
Yep, Chris Daniels.
More Pain. Christian.
Tana.
More Pain.
Christian.
Man, those are some bangers.
Yeah.
From Christian, I mean.
Ron Killings. There's old Ultimo.
What's he been up to? New Japan? Yeah.
New Japan, yeah. Expires in 6 months. The return of the dragon. Kanemoto is down here.
Good old Tiger Mask.
Yep, the best.
There's
Tiger
Test.
Mask. Oh, yeah.
What?
Test.
Oh. Okay. All right, let's filter to our guys. WWA.
WWC. There we are.
Oh, of course. I mean, we had the number 1 guy.
Big Ken. Sean at 10. Randy at 12. Trips at 14. Chavo at 18.
Is that impressive rank for Chavo? Up significantly from 2004.
Shelton at 20.
To be expected.
Big Dave down to 21.
These are still impressive ranks for his skill.
I agree. Jericho's up big.
After being down big last year, presumably.
Yeah.
I think he starts the game at number 1.
Renee with a massive jump.
Renee with no picture.
No picture. Who is this man?
You can fix that if you just go into the editor. Because it'll be his default picture you don't need to assign.
Oh, yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
I'll fix that someday.
Yeah.
Ray, up from last year. Sure.
Slightly.
Cena way up.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. Kurt's
down?
Down 10.
Yeah. That makes sense.
Yep. Edge is up a bunch.
That is a lot.
Yeah.
The game has thought he's done excellently this year, though. I'm not quite sure why.
Yeah,
but,
I don't know either. Booker's down.
Yeah. He's had look at how few matches Booker T has had, by the way.
Oh, yeah.
That is the list.
That is the list.
The forgotten match. If you look since April, he's had nothing to do.
Nothing to do.
Was he injured? Can we check his injury history?
No, he wasn't hurt. Definitely. I don't even know you do that anymore.
Gills?
Yes, you're right. Old injuries.
Oh,
None.
no.
None. None.
Store event. Save up to 50% off.
That's at 75.
Just checking you were on your toes.
Gotcha. Taker, after not being in the top 500, because he's a big bum.
Can we see how many matches did he have in 04? Was it just that he just had... No, he must have wrestled a few.
04, he wrestled. Not enough. They need 10, I believe.
10.
He wrestled 7.
Man, he was in like the SmackDown program there for whatever.
Yeah. Carlito up big. Up from literally just not being in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
94, what was that?
That was this one right here where John Cena and Rey Mysterio defeated Kurt Angle and Carlito.
Based racism.
Charlie's up.
That's interesting. This has been a down year for Charlie.
He went 6-17 this year. 6-17-1. Tajiri is up.
Oh, I think that's a bit of an odd one. I think that's carried a lot by some of the peak. Renee feud did well for him, for better looks.
And then next on our roster is the dead William Regal.
That's more matches than I thought he would have had this year.
Yeah, I agree.
I like how there's a significant drop there at the end, and then we're like, well, he's gone now.
Yeah, he's dead, I guess. Rip. Elix Skipper is down massive.
That makes sense.
Yeah, it really does. Doug Basham.
He's up.
Yep, Orlando's up huge.
Yeah, makes some sense.
Trish is up.
That's a minor rise, I'd say.
Lance Storm is up about 100.
That makes sense.
Shane Helms is down.
That's surprising, but I guess Hurricane had some big job matches.
Yeah, he really did.
I imagine, actually, can we check? I want to see the difference, because I imagine my prediction is that this year was more consistent but low on the peak, and then last year was lower on average but had the peak.
So look at those numbers there at the bottom of your screen, ladies and gentlemen. Puddy is right. Puddy is right. Up next, we've got The Big Show, who's down.
Yeah, I mean, he's a good asset.
Yeah.
I haven't used him a lot.
Big Stevie up massive.
He was on the verge of being fired, and he has found a niche. Definitely needs to be funneled a bit.
Kid Cash is down.
That makes sense. How old is Kid Cash? Because I think I see him more tailing off
36.
a bit, but he's very young.
He's not very young, but
that's pretty young.
Well, yeah, like
he's mid-peak.
Fair.
Yeah.
Paul London should be up. He's actually up about 50.
Yeah, it makes sense, I think.
Davari! Eat your heart out, Muhammad Hassan. Where even are you?
40, well, how is Davari
40
this high?
spots lower.
Jesus, the John Cena Chris Benoit New America match banged.
Bang.
Holy balls.
There's Natty. She's way up.
Yeah, as you'd expect. She really has become a good worker. Can we see Nat's stats and pop here at the end of the year?
Yeah. So here's her
Those
stats.
Are good. Those are okay. Actually, I'm curious. What's the progress on those? Because those need to be getting better.
What one are you looking at?
Psychology and the fundamentals.
Sure.
Aye. Okay. Aye.
She has reached the peak of this division.
Yikes.
Yikes, indeed.
But that's not all that matters. The pop is.
Oh yes, that as well. There you go.
That's pretty good.
Up next, Dean Malenko. He's up big. That makes sense.
Yeah.
Victoria didn't place last year.
Had a good year for sure.
Yep.
She's won most of her matches, which is kind of surprising.
There's Muhammad. Okay. There's Doug. Or sorry, Danny, not Doug.
Significantly worse than Doug, as you'd expect.
Yes. Lita, who's down. Road Warrior Animal, who's up.
Makes sense.
Funaki, baby.
That's a really good year. There's a lot of green in there.
There is a lot of green in there for Funaki.
Wait,
Fucking doesn't matter, Funaki.
Wait. Look at that list. Battle Royal. Battle Royal. Battle Royal. A US title run.
Big Mark.
That is a slow year for Mark.
Yeah. Miggy Rojo.
His best matches were not in our company.
Literally. Nunzio.
That's pretty good.
Jamie Noble.
Slow year for him.
Yeah.
I'm not surprised he's down big.
Massive down. Shannon Moore is up.
Yep. Minor rise, as you'd expect.
Nitro.
This, I was expecting maybe him being higher, but he just hasn't done what we want him to do.
Mm-hmm.
So we're just going to have to carry through with that and then see if he goes up next
It's
year.
really unfortunate that Mercury fucked
Yes.
everything up. So his build up is a little harder, but it's okay. Yang.
Yeah, that makes sense. He was more of a featured player at the end of last year.
Yeah. Sean O'Hare, Road Warrior Shark.
Still getting started, I think, with him.
Yeah, I would agree.
He's wrestled a lot, though.
Kendrick, who pieced out halfway through the year to do copious amounts of weed.
That he did.
My God, what an appearance from Ken Kennedy himself.
Wow. That's a good year.
That is
There's
a
a lot
good
of
year.
green in there.
Yeah.
Although, when you investigate further, so Battle Royal, we've also got Carlito, Kurt Angle, and Randy Orton in a 74. Then we've got Kurt Angle in a 71, and Shelton Benjamin in another 74. So when you investigate a bit deeper, the green isn't as impressive.
And there's Tony Takeover.
That Tajiri match is impressive.
Big Tajiri.
Shawn Michaels. Forgot about that one.
Yeah. Miss Jackie.
Oh, the go-to jobber
The
of the
greatest
division
women's jobber of all time.
gets on the list. She won a match. Who did she beat? Christy Hemme.
So
Not bad.
I don't even know who the fuck this is. Oh, it's Wesh!
Oh, it's Wesh Tanaka.
Big Wesh.
His best match was getting beaten in a 2-on-1 handicap match by Edge.
Pirate Paul.
80 is solid. Oh, it's the Battle Royal
Yep.
that everybody was in, apparently.
Palumbo.
Man, can we talk about how many people are above Bobby Lashley?
Oh,
yeah.
Jesus, Bobo. Oh, my God. Kid Courageous.
That's a lot of wrestling he did, not in our company.
Yeah. Swinger Parisi.
He's a push waiting to happen.
Just showed up. Montel
Has
Porter.
not wrestled for us. Yep.
Bobby Lashley.
Okay, so I think this reveals the reality here, which is that he's actually had a good year. However, there's a lot of red.
Yeah.
Yeah, and yellow. But if you look at the key stuff, like Triple H, Chris Benoit, 87, you take those.
Yeah, I agree. And then to close out our list, Robbie Dauber, who never worked for a match for us.
Doesn't work for us, yeah.
Yeah. There you go.
Okay, so I've got 2 ideas for the rest of this show.
Yep.
One, we asked some questions last year. I don't remember all of them, but I remember some of them, and I think they're good conversation points.
Yep.
2, we could go through pay-per-view to pay-per-view, briefly going over the story of our year. Should we do that? And what order do you want to do it in?
I'd say run down the year first, and then we'll talk a bit about it.
Okay.
So yeah, let's start off with New Year's Revolution 05.
Yeah, you can filter this in the all shows button down there.
Awesome.
Cool. So this show, well, let's take a look at the Elimination Chamber because I think that's going to guide where we were starting with here. So, I'm gonna make my face cam smaller for the stream, just so you can see everything because we're going to be spending a lot. Actually, instead of doing that, I was a bit stupid. I'm going to make it normal size, but I'm going to move it because that's a way smarter idea.
And you guys can see all the stuff on my end.
Yeah.
Fine. Yep. Cool.
Just for the stream.
Yep.
Okay, so the Elimination Chamber was where we started. We started Randy Orton as the World Heavyweight Champion.
Yes.
For the first time. He had won it at SummerSlam, so a pretty long reign. He had beaten pretty much everyone, right? He beat Batista, he beat Eddie Guerrero, he beat Shelton Benjamin. Had he beaten Triple H at that point? Or
no.
No. Triple H was busy with Shawn, right?
Yes.
So the challengers here, I mean, this was a murderer's row of who was really being prominent at the time. We have Eddie. We don't have Eddie.
No.
Where's Eddie?
Eddie is losing to Charlie Haas.
Ah, yes. What a way to start the year for Eddie Guerrero.
Indeed.
But the big rivals for Orton's title were Eddie, Batista, and Shelton. And it was Batista and Shelton in this Elimination Chamber alongside Benoit, Tajiri, and Triple H. And yeah, Triple H ended up winning it to set up his road to WrestleMania. Batista at this time was still a member of Evolution.
Yep.
On the women's side, we were doing a reign of Victoria, apparently. I think this was your murder reign.
Murder reign that then Nat Hart defeated, yeah.
We've got Charlie and Eddie in a feud that I was a big fan of, where kind of Charlie was, I think it was Eddie was being a dick to Shelton, and Charlie wasn't having any of it.
Yeah.
Got pretty passionate. Of course, this was the last chance for Billy Kidman, who was beating a leaving Christian, and if this match did well enough, we were going to keep Billy and give him a shot. Billy is no longer with the company,
Yeah.
but he did survive a little bit longer. And then, of course, a feud that I had actually completely forgotten. Hurricane Helms taking on the Weather Wizards.
The Weather Wizards, baby.
And an Ultra Cane is born at this show.
Yes. Ultra Cane! And then you failed to mention the greatness of this random feud.
So moving from Puerto Rico to the Royal Rumble, we were in California for this one.
Yep.
Where I guess again we should start with I think we should start with the title matches actually.
Sure.
So we had JBL versus Edge. Oh, yep. Sure. JBL versus Edge, which was Edge, I think, had just been pretty over throughout the autumn.
Yes.
And we came to the Rumble and we both kind of just looked at each other and said, Edge is fighting for the belt at Rumble, right? And that's what ended up happening. This would obviously spiral back off into Edge Chavo because they were feuding over the way in which Edge had kind of left Chavo to JBL.
Yeah.
This main event was very controversial at the time.
I love Taz explains what the fuck Ultra Cane is.
You were pretty hesitant to put this on last.
Yeah, I wonder why.
What do you mean?
It's
so,
Kane.
Go on. Yeah, go on.
Like, actually just bad wrestler Kane. Like, I see value in Big Show. I see value in Great Khali. There's no value in Kane. That dude is a fucking loser who overstayed his welcome in a company for, I don't even know. He was fucking done by this point in real life. Like, 05, they were fucking out of things for him to do. Like, He only debuted in what, 98? Like, ugh. And then he probably fucking wrestled this year. Like 2021. He probably has wrestled for that company this year. He just doesn't go away, and he sucks. He's never been good. I don't know why I got so passionate there about Kane, but fuck Kane.
We had Booker T taking on Doug Basham in a Chavo Guerrero's Freedom on a Pole match. And Booker managed to free Chavo finally from the clutches of the cabinet.
Yep.
And then we had the end of the Billy Kidman experiment.
Yes.
I completely forgot Regal had the belt at this point. It's going to be a very topsy-turvy until Mania. I can tell you that.
Yeah. No Way Out?
Batista. Well, we should talk about the winner of the Royal Rumble.
You're right.
Dave Batista. Of course, the real-life winner. We're not always... I mean, we saw in 2004 we weren't always going to follow through with what happened in real life, but can't have too many arguments with Dave Batista winning the Royal Rumble. And it was the beginning of the iconic breakup of Evolution. But before we got to Mania, we have a SmackDown pay-per-view.
No Way Out, which was Mark Henry and John Bradshaw Layfield in a cage.
In a barbed wire steel cage match.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, JBL really had no way out. And he on his final defense, he showed his heart and his guts. And he managed to win. I think there was some cheating involved too, but you know.
Probably, yes.
Anything else on this card? I mean, obviously, John Cena, Kurt Angle in the finals of the number one contenders tournament.
Chavo
big match for
Edge
John.
Blowing their shit off. Because
Ray and Chris for the Cruiserweight title when Undertaker returned.
Yep. Big Show beat the Dudley Boys.
The Cruiserweight tag title's getting some shine on a pay-per-view.
Yeah. I like it.
This was a low match card. Holy shit.
Oh, yeah. WrestleMania 21, the show of the year.
Yeah. That's a lot of fucking show.
Raw says hi, SmackDown does too. Hola, Japan. Bonjour. Ciao.
Then the Money in the Bank match, which Edge won.
Yeah, Edgy Guerrero. Should have had him team up with Chavo as Edgy Guerrero.
Jesus, that Chavo Kurt match, why did it do so badly?
I am not sure. Went 10 minutes. The performances are great.
Huh. Maybe we slow built it. I think it might have started as a longer match.
It probably did.
Yeah.
Yep. What else we got here on WrestleMania? Tajiri beating Coachman for the IC belt.
Yep. That was a good match. That did better than Chavo versus Kurt.
Yeah. Trish Stratus beat Lita.
Non-title match.
Yep. Shawn Michaels beat Rey Mysterio.
In a banger.
Absolute banger. It was a rematch from SummerSlam the year prior.
Yep, these two had long-standing issues that cropped back up at the Rumble. I think this is, their series was tied at this point, right?
Yes.
It's still tied. Keep an eye on that, folks. Shawn Michaels is competing inside the Elimination Chamber at our next pay-per-view. And Rey Mysterio is probably going to be in the Royal Rumble.
Undertaker beat Chris Jericho.
That was a banger.
That was a banger.
What does he go here? Like 11, 13? No, 12?
13:28, that says.
No, I was thinking, like, what's his streak at?
Oh,
I think it's 12-0. Let's have a look.
Yes. No. 13?
Yeah, 13.
Yeah. Okay. Yep. And then we've got Guerrero and Benoit versus the World's Greatest Tag Team versus New America.
Oh, what a match.
Big banger.
Oh, wait, New America in there. I forgot who they were.
Yeah, like literally.
How did it do?
84.
Well, Hulk Hogan accepts his Hall of Fame plaque.
Yep. Nat Hart beat Victoria. Winner second.
To win her second? Okay.
Yes, that was her second.
Wow. Surprised it was only her second at that point.
Yeah. John Cena defeated John Bradshaw Layfield to ascend to the mountaintop.
Yep.
And in the Evolution Triple Threat, Dave Bautista came out on top.
With Eric Bischoff as the timekeeper and Ric Flair at ringside.
Yep. There is a ring at my doorbell. I'll leave it on Backlash. I'll give you as much room as possible.
Give me the main event. Thank you. All right. So Backlash was a big show because I believe this was mid-draft and we had still not finished up the rosters after the draft. So this show had both a world title match and a WWE title match as John Cena took on JBL in a quit match. And then there was some meme going on with Chris Jericho at the time where we were like, he almost beat the Undertaker streak or something. And that's why he got a title match. And then, that main evented the show. Undertaker destroyed the FBI in a 3-on-1 handicap match. And Sean O'Haire and RVD, a tag team I completely forgot about, were feuding with Eminem at the time. This was a SmackDown pay-per-view. Forgot to mention that. This was a SmackDown pay-per-view. And then, Los Guerreros, Kurt and Carlito, based racism as they were known at the time. And that was Coyote XL, I think, at the top there, losing to the Basham brothers, who retained their titles. Their title. Funaki winning the US title, I forgot to mention. I didn't think it happened this early. Funaki holds that belt for a long fucking time. I'm pretty sure he loses to Edge, doesn't he? Yeah, I'm pretty sure he does. Holy shit, that's a crazy long reign from him. Okay, I'm out of things to say about this show now, so Tucker's got to come back. Sorry. That's all I got. I'm going to give Tucker a problem because I know he doesn't edit these videos, so he's not going to cut this out. I guess maybe I can talk about the draft a little bit. I think at this point we had John. No, it would have been Batista who went to SmackDown first. And we were teasing an undisputed championship match between John and Dave, which probably would have happened in kayfabe. Probably would have happened if they had stayed on the same brand. But by the end of the draft, John was back, or John had gone to Raw. And Where the fuck is Tucker? That's way too long to be gone in the middle of a recording. If anyone's in Twitch chat, I guess there's a lot of, it's a late night stream. I was going to ask if anybody has any questions about the year, but I don't think there's too many people around at the moment. Well, nothing I can do about it until Tucker's back, so I'm going to just chill. Let's see exactly what it is I need to do here. Okay. Jesus, he's been gone ages. Does he really expect me to fill this much time? What a guy.
Hello.
Fine.
Sorry about
Hello.
that. Sorry about that, everybody. Literally, and the people on YouTube who have to sit through that. Because I'm not editing this. So yeah, the only thing that I think wasn't on the screen here was the Cruiserweight Open, right? That's what it's
Oh,
called?
yeah. That is what it was.
Yes. Rey Mysterio retained the Cruiserweight Championship.
Yeah.
Judgment Day 05.
Which was a Raw pay-per-view.
Raw pay-per-view.
Sir In
William
Boston.
Regal.
Hell yeah.
Hell yeah, indeed.
John Cena's first ever pay-per-view main event?
Yes. He, defended against Chris Jericho. We had Trish Stratus defeat Neidhart to retain the women's title. That's because we did...
Trish won it the night after Mania,
yeah,
I think.
Yeah, because that match with Lita was a number one contenders match.
Mm-hmm.
Randy Orton beat Triple H.
This was sort of their big feud. I think my pitch to you for the Orton this year was he's going to kill people. And that started with Triple H.
Renee won the IC belt.
That's pretty big. He still has that title.
Still has that belt. Lance Storm defeated Dean Malenko. DMLS Origins.
I think, yeah, at that point they were scheduled to fight in a tag match, but the champion was out or something.
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah.
Little Big Show, the one appearance.
Oh, yeah. Could have done a lot more with that. Oh, well.
Definitely could have. Shawn Michaels defeated Sir William Regal.
He won his knighthood.
Sir Shawn Michaels.
Yeah.
Then we went into June with the Great American Bash.
Which was back to being which was still a SmackDown pay-per-view, yeah.
Yep. Batista beat Chavo and JBL in a World Heavyweight Championship triple threat.
Funaki retaining his United States Championship.
Of course. Shelton Benjamin beat Eddie Guerrero. Rey Mysterio defended the Cruiserweight belt against Nunzio.
I believe that Shelton Benjamin-Eddie Guerrero match was a no-ropes match.
Unfortunately, I have no evidence of this, and so who knows? But
I'm pretty sure it was. Because Eddie was like, "That's you." I think you initially were like, "That sounds stupid to me," and so we incorporated into the storyline where Eddie was like, "That sounds really stupid. I don't get it." And then when he goes to like cheat with the ropes, he's like,
"Oh fuck." Kurt Angle beat the Undertaker.
Yeah.
Booker T, Gregory Helms, Sean O'Hare, and Animal defeated the full.
Otherwise known as the SmackDown Home Army.
SmackDown Home Army, SmackDown Militia. London Kendrick beat Edge in a handicap match. This was when Edge was picking on small people.
Oh yeah. Finley sells you potatoes, you dafty fuckers.
Melina defeated Lita.
Oh, there was the Hell is a No Ropes match.
The hell is a no ropes match?
This is where Lita was on SmackDown and she was isolated and alone, so Edge preyed on her.
Yes, excellent. Skipper and Rojo defeated the Pitbulls to retain the Cruiserweight belts.
Yeah, and I think that's that show. I think we can move past One Night Stand as well. If you want to know what that's all about, sub to the Patreon.
Well, we're not showing you that. Come on. Vengeance 05, main evented by
Randy
Triple
Orton,
H,
Triple
Randy Orton,
H.
Hell in a Cell.
Hell in a Cell.
John
And on
Cena.
the undercards, we had John Cena Muhammad Hassan for the title.
Muhammad Hassan.
Stevie Richards challenged for the IC belt. He got the opportunity asking John Cena, and he promised he wouldn't let John down.
He did.
Other highlights, Chris Benoit, William Regal banged, and Shawn Michaels was fighting OJ. I think we can leave the rest of the undercard unless there's anything significant there.
Little Big Show, he's back. SummerSlam 05.
SummerSlam, the largest party of the Summer Go show.
Main event, John Cena beats Chris Benoit. Also got
Meanwhile, Batista versus Angle for the world title, and Undertaker versus Sting.
Moving his Sting. Anyways, Randy Orton beat Shawn Michaels by stoppage. Had to stop the. Oh yeah, well, Orton almost did it. I remember that. Yeah. Oh my god. You sick.
Carlito defeats JBL. Nat Hart and Trish Stratus in the last woman standing match. Chavo and Eddie in a ladder match for the custody of their farm.
Yep. Carlito, JBL, the base racists explode.
No, Kurt Angle was part of base racism.
Oh, you're right.
Collateral damage.
You're right. Nat Hart defeated Trish Stratus in a last woman standing match.
Yep.
Shelton Benjamin defeated Edge by DQ. Okay.
Again, I haven't looked at the undercards as anything significant, but I think we can mostly leave this one.
RSD Ric Flair, Gregory Helms wins the Cruiserweight belt in a triple threat.
That's pretty big.
Yep. Hogamania moving quickly, uncontrolled.
I think he was in a band with Jericho.
Yes, he was. What a man. Ric Flair turned face. Top of the pre-show. Unforgiven 05. This is Shawn Michaels, Randy Orton, no holds barred.
Yep. Why did this main event? This shouldn't have main evented. Oh, it was Randy Orton, loser leaves town. Okay, never mind.
Yeah.
Also, it was John Cena versus Kane.
God, fucking, he can't keep getting away with this. The DMLS Civil War.
Oh, yes. Where the young guys were like, should we really be fighting you?
Yeah, this seems weird. Lashley and OJ beat New America. Nat Hart beat Victoria to retain the women's title. Ric Flair and Triple H started their series with a Ric Flair victory. Trish Stratus
defeated Dicks.
She touched the Dicks.
And then the opener is the only other thing. Yeah, there it is.
Yeah.
It's Renee beating Benoit for the IC title.
No Mercy 05, so back over to SmackDown. We've got main eventing Eddie Guerrero defeating Shelton Benjamin for the World Heavyweight Championship.
Shelton had won the belt on a SmackDown, and then Angle screws him over in this main event. JBL finally gets his win back on The Undertaker.
Yep. Greg Helms sexes his belt. Mysterio wins.
Mysterio wins the titles, yeah.
Yep. Edge and Carlito.
Edge eventually wins the US title off Tajiri. I think that was on a SmackDown somewhere.
Funaki, not Tajiri.
Oh my god, that's really bad. I'm tired. I've made a lot of mistakes, okay?
Yeah, that's pretty rough, not gonna lie. It's unfortunate.
Look, I wish it was Tajiri. See, I fixed it.
That's fair.
Yeah, I fixed it.
And then the Booker T Ken Kennedy street fight. Their blood feud.
Their blow off that totally wasn't a blow off.
Oh yeah. Cyber Sunday 05, back over to Raw, main evented by, of course, Triple H, Ric Flair, 3 Stages of Hell.
Bobby Lashley defeated Balor again.
Yikes. John Cena beat Big Show and Shawn in a triple threat.
Shawn was the voted on man, I think.
Yep. DMLS beat Regal and Taylor and Jericho and Richards. Jericho and Richards form here. Kane killed Maven.
Yep.
Trish Stratus beat Telly Medicine and the Dicks. Chris Benoit beat Charlie Haas.
To become a member of DMLS.
Yes. Lengthy run for him in DMLS.
Hey, it was important in the end.
Survivor Series 05.
Whoa, this show was banging. Look at that rating.
Oh yeah, same thing as Mania.
Whew.
Main evented by John Cena beating Triple H for the WWE Championship.
And also Hulk Hogan versus Shawn Michaels.
And also Eddie Guerrero versus Batista versus Rey Mysterio. And also Randy Orton versus The Undertaker in a casket match.
And also the Team Raw versus Team SmackDown Survivor Series traditional match.
There were many things occurring at once on this show.
Bobby Lashley made Chris Benoit tap out from punches.
From punches, yeah. Victoria beat Mickie James in her in her second ever match, I believe.
So Gregory Helms retained his title in a very turbulent fatal four-way in which he, some people think, was a bit shady.
Some people are unsure about the way he won. Armageddon 05. We've literally just done this.
Yeah. So the show opens up with Randy Orton being awarded the title.
Yep.
Batista wins it back. Batista wins it off of him. Then Batista is put in a match that he was advertised for against Mark Henry. That match is brutal, but he comes out on top. And then in the main event, Randy Orton wins the title right back in a last man standing match. Kurt Angle and Shelton Benjamin are unable to resolve their issues, and Gregory Helms is still the Cruiserweight champion.
Indeed. Cool. That actually took a lot less time than I thought it would.
Wow. Took a lot less time when we weren't going through the minutiae of every single match.
Hey now, they're all important in their own special way. Maybe.
Okay. So on the Raw side this year, who do you think was the best, like, specific guy from a storytelling perspective?
Ooh.
Who's the best guy to book on the Raw side?
I think Renee is up there.
I agree with that.
I think Sean is up there. We got some fun with Sean this year.
I can see why you say it. Not for me.
Yeah, it's fair. Cena is kind of a given. Who else was really fun on Raw? The DMLS stuff was pretty fun.
I'm glad you turned on that. I think at times you weren't into it.
Yeah.
I remember on Raw, sometime in the late summer, you were actually like super down on Raw.
Yeah, it's true. But, it came around in the end, as it always does. Babyface Ric Flair was pretty fun. For the short bit that we did it. I don't know. Just a couple names there. Probably Renee, I guess, if I was going to land on one. Just he's the biggest riser.
Yeah, I think that's fair. Who would I go for? Batista was pretty good, especially on Raw.
Yep.
This year. I like Benoit's stuff this year. Actually, I really like Benoit's stuff this year.
Yeah, Benoit's another good name.
I think I might go with Benoit. It's curious that we picked those two guys. But, yeah, I think I'll go with Benoit. On the SmackDown side, who do you think individually the best guy to book was?
Eddie, definitely, near the end.
You were really into that Eddie stuff when he was shooting with Chavo, especially, I remember. There's a lot of you.
Eddie was pretty fun. I think not so much this year, but next year, how we have set him up. I think Gregory Helms will be a lot of fun.
Cool.
I think Edge has been pretty cool this year.
Mm-hmm.
He's had his comeuppance like on and off, but he's still a dastardly evil man. Anybody else I can think of on the SmackDown side? Batista's pretty fun.
Funaki?
No.
No. Okay.
If I had to give one more name for SmackDown, I would probably say it's earlier on in the year, but JBL. JBL's great.
I was wondering if you'd say that.
Yeah.
I think I did like the Batista stuff. Trying to figure out the right role for him. I think there were times where you were pushing when he got to SmackDown to go a little bit more talky and a little bit more coherent, and I really wanted to buck against that, and I'm glad I did.
Yeah.
I think the fact that he finds this niche as like a badass and a guy who is a leader in a way, but is not. It's consistent with his early days where he's not a eloquent man.
Right.
And I like that. There's some feuds with Batista where he just comes out and says something and leaves, and I'm still Batista of this era, like this 04 to 08 kind of is a big character I like, so I want to try and preserve that, and that's why I'm concerned about him being on TV now here for the next 4 or 5 months, because his absence was a really big part of what got him to the mega star status in late 06.
Right.
So something we're gonna have to look at. I think I probably would go Batista on SmackDown. Right in on. Those Raw stuff was really good as well. What about you? Yeah. Who's your final guy?
I like Dave. Dave's a
Although
good shout.
Shelton is a close second for me because Shelton was great this year. I really liked Shelton.
I'm gonna give it to Eddie because I had the absolute most fun doing late stage Eddie Guerrero, where he's just bitter, just fucking angry. Just stay away from me. Don't talk to me. I don't want to talk to you. Like, if I was to give a second, I would probably give it to JBL with like an honorable mention to Kurt Angle, who's been pretty fun the whole year.
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
What do you think is the best like storyline or feud from Raw this year?
Best storyline from Raw this year. Dave leaving Evolution is a great one. Obviously, that entire build up to Mania was really fun on Raw.
For sure.
I think then the Triple H Ric Flair stuff that happened in the aftermath of that was also pretty fun.
I think we're gonna get an early mention here to Kane kills Maven.
Kane kills Maven. Yeah.
What do you think about the Ultra Kane stuff on the Kane vibe? Because you were like, very invested in that, but it seems from this show that you've harbored long-standing resentment towards Glenn Jacobs that I was not aware of.
Well, like the best use of Kane is as a meme because he's garbage. He's worthless. He can't talk. He's not scary. He can't work. He's just some bald fucker. He's just some bald fucker who does a chokeslam. And I think it was mostly in 04, unfortunately, where we took him out of the ring the most, which is great because I don't want to see Kane wrestle. But his role with Big Show and stuff teaming will be probably pretty good. Ultra Kane itself, I dig it. It's like a proper garbage wrestling gimmick. Like, I love it. The idea that where the fuck I said he absorbed the powers of all the weather wizards and it was just him. He was all of them combined. Oh, it's so terrible.
Yeah,
I love it.
He was so strong. He just had to main event the show, right? I mean,
yeah,
just such a gargantuan, is a massive supernatural threat against arguably the greatest wrestler of our generation. That's what it's a main event in the arena. I've just joined. Have you guys been streaming long? Yeah, about an hour. The entire VOD will be up on Tucker's channel afterwards.
Yeah.
Well, in a couple of weeks. I guess this has to come out after Armageddon.
Yeah,
it does. You're okay with me leaving this VOD up, right?
Oh yeah, definitely.
We'll just be up on here then. For me, I'm gonna go with. Well, we should talk a little bit about the late year feuds because I don't think we mentioned any there really. So maybe like Shawn Michaels and Johnny Nitro had its moments.
For what it was.
The kind of late year title chase with Lashley, Benoit, Triple H, and Cena. There were moments in there that I thought were pretty cool.
I'd agree.
Renee, in general, but also in specific, him being part of the Survivor Series team, the feud with Benoit, the women's stuff. I think you did do a good job with Mickey so far. That's been fun.
Appreciate that.
I think the relationship between Tori and Nat's been fun to book.
Yep.
Robbie Dauber as a character, I think, is starting to evolve. I'm a fan of that.
Yeah.
And all the relationships he's having with people.
I think he and Lashley, at least for this next, up until Mania and then the draft, I think they have a lot of room to really figure out if there's anything there, if that makes any sense.
Do you mean separately or as a pair?
I meant like as a pair. Like we know we're gonna split them up eventually, anyways. But I think as a pair,
I was under the impression that they were already essentially split up. Like they were never that close.
No.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Cool.
Yeah.
I'm thinking of Chris Masters. That's what has happened in my brain for some reason.
Gotcha.
Because we just paired them, so I was like, oh yeah, no, they just got paired together. Him and Lashley, they get to like do cool shit now for a couple months. I was thinking of Masters, but I also really like Lashley on his own.
I like Lashley as well, but not with Robbie Dauber. That's close.
I think I think Lashley on his own just as an absolute killer.
Yeah, I like Lashley too, and actually I think that the early stuff I was doing with Lashley got a bit memed on your side with the just trying to create this wholesome American image. But a badass wrestler. But I think it's got its place.
It's like if you do it, like this is like mid 05. If you do it, actually no. Even if you do it then they're gonna throw it back in your face. I was gonna say like if you did it a decade later, they'd throw it back in your face. I'm like, no, it's 05. They're gonna throw it back in your face. They're like, this is fucking stupid.
No, it would get over for sure.
No, it would. It would be the exact same thing as the fucking. Okay, no, it wouldn't. To be fair, but I was gonna mention the Bobby Lashley's sisters angle or whatever the fuck they did. Yeah, it wouldn't have been that bad, but I think people would have been like, "This dude's fucking lame. I hate this fucking guy."
Maybe he's lame, but the I get the wholesome stuff is lame, but the wholesome stuff is relatable and what's the word? Not attainable. The opposite, like aspirational, right?
Yes.
And then. The cool part is the fact that he's a great fucking wrestler, like an amateur wrestler. He's collegiate and stuff like that, and that's why we're having him wrestle a lot. That's what I still think that's the core of the character, is that he has this wholesome side that is lame, but it's aspirational and relatable. And then the cool part is that he's a really good wrestler from a amateur perspective.
I think something interesting that you don't see a lot in wrestling, and like when you do, it's often really cool, i.e. Lesnar. It's somebody who has like that legitimate wrestling background and then is also humongous. Like can just steamroll people. Like
as soon as I finished, I regretted not adding to that description. He's a physical specimen, right? Like that's another thing with Bobby that makes him cool.
Yeah, I think that like balance, the fact that like he could out wrestle you, or he could just run at you and tackle you and you're dead. Like it's just he's kind of got a lot of tools, and I think that's cool to me.
Yeah, I think the idea that the vibe for Lashley is like I think when you take that like that physical mold you were just talking about, he's like the ideal American, right? He's good at football, he's good at wrestling, and he's buff and fit. And then if you add the family and the military stuff to that, I think that's the vibe that I want to capture with early face Bobby Lashley.
It's definitely a vibe. I think I think it's gotten better because it's as we've moved away from doing the initial introduction vignettes, it now feels what do I want to say? It feels less one-dimensional. Like it feels more like he is. I think it's just come to fruition. I guess the idea that he's mostly a worker.
Yes, he's a challenger now because he's been in the title picture so much. People just see him as one of the guys who could fight for the title, and he will.
Yeah,
He's going to be in the. I think he's going to be in the Elimination Chamber. So
there are certain guys in this series where like I definitely feel like as things have progressed, like it happened with Edge in 2004 when Edge got really crazy over out of nowhere, and Bobby Lashley hasn't been really crazy over in terms of the game, but I think with just the way he's been used and the spots we've been putting him in, I think the people are probably popping pretty big for him at this point.
I hope so. Yeah. All right.
Even
so
though I think he's fucking unknown or whatever. Oh no, he's not recognizable.
No, he's yeah. And he's got a legendary gimmick.
American Man.
Hell yeah, American Man.
American Man.
Okay. So, what's your final answer on the best storyline from Raw this year, or feud, or whatever, angle, gimmick?
I'm gonna go with the WrestleMania build-up. I'm gonna go with Batista, Triple H, Orton, all that.
I'm glad you went to that because it frees me up to say, because I like that a lot. It frees me up to say the one that we haven't mentioned, I specifically haven't mentioned, Chris Benoit, John Cena at SummerSlam, which I was so hyped for, the promos for it, the feel of it, that Chris is not the first guy, arguably, who's going to take John seriously, that isn't going to mention anything about flukes. He knows John's there, but he also truly believes that he's the best wrestler to ever touch his feet on the earth. Chris Benoit thinks he could beat anyone if he just gets them to wrestle his game, and he thinks that he's going to end John Cena's title reign, and he's going to go on to be recognized by everybody as the best there ever was. And just he runs into John Cena. No. It was an unstoppable force. Yeah. I mean, it was kind of subtle and almost in some ways unintended. But after that point, we kind of see a different version of the Eddie Guerrero storyline, where Chris Benoit's kind of had a mental breakdown after SummerSlam. Yeah, and it's kind of gone off the rails, a little bit since then. So
yeah. I like the fact that I was gonna say, I think it was mostly unintentional. It was more just the inevitable place for both of them to go. But it was really cool that both of them at the exact same time were kind of spiraling out of control.
Neither of them were with our company anymore.
Yeah.
All right. Best storyline, feud, angle, gimmick over on SmackDown. Start with the honor, I guess, with the contenders.
Yeah, I gotta think here. What the hell have we been doing on SmackDown?
Kurt and Shelton, betrayal.
Kurt and Shelton has been great. Like I really like that stuff.
Eddie and Chavo, or the Eddie story in general.
Yeah, Eddie and Chavo was pretty fun. Like I would give Kurt and Shelton the edge over that, in my opinion.
Even if you were to word it as like the Eddie thing as a whole.
Yeah.
Because I think okay.
Like I would say so, just because I think, as weird as this is, I think I had my hands on the Eddie thing a lot, so I still feel like a little weird about it, if that makes any sense.
Hard to get a step back and look at it.
Yeah, like I don't really know if I went back and looked at every single week, how well did I do? I don't really know. Probably not tremendous, but I've never been a nose to the ground week to week person anyways. I've always been a big picture guy.
Mm-hmm. There's the Cena JBL stuff.
Yep.
There's
honorable mention, because it bled into this year, but it was mostly 04. Edge, Chavo, JBL.
Yep.
I loved that. That was awesome stuff.
I'm glad you end up feeling that way, because on the week to week, it was sometimes messy, and even like medium term when I was trying to storyboard some of that, it ended up getting pretty messy, because it's one of those things we get ourselves bogged down in a lot, which is like, what is the mechanics of wrestling? Like, why is Chavo an indentured servant? How does he get out of it? Like, that's, if you really think about it, no matter what you do, I think it's going to fall apart.
Oh, yeah.
And so the fact that we are now a year out and you look back at it fondly, I'm happy about, because I was very concerned at the time. That was like, okay, every week it's like, okay, how do I make this
I think
like authentic?
I think the best part of it was that while it did in some ways have that stuff that like I get hung up on a lot, where I'm like, how does this make any sense? This would never work. How does somebody's gonna look at this and be like, what? That makes no sense. It was the fact that on the opposite end of it, um, both Edge and Chavo felt very strongly about what had occurred. Like Edge had felt like he had genuinely done nothing wrong. Um, and Chavo had felt like, yeah, his friend had betrayed him. I think those, I think that's one of the better emotion feuds, if that makes any sense, that we've done.
Yeah.
Like I think that we really nailed both of them and kind of like one man's anger and the other man's I don't know what to call it, just like, get away from me, you weird crazy guy, who I kind of sort of might have left with JBL. Sorry.
Yeah, and it is again one of those cool things. I think those cool beats in wrestling where everybody is self-interested, and how, you know, when an opportunity to go fight for the title comes along, how much of a babyface are you?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, go on. If you have anything else on this one.
Yeah, that's another reason why I think it was pretty great. Like just the idea that it started to strip back Edge a little bit, and we kind of revealed like, hey, isn't this dude kind of been a selfish prick the entire time? And it was like, oh yeah, huh? Why
It's
are we
cool too
cheering
because I
for him?
think Edge's best role is as a babyface, and we very rarely will get to book that. And for large periods of that, he was working babyface,
Right,
even if he wasn't a good guy.
right.
Which is another reason why, I mean, we haven't talked about Orton at all here, I don't think, but like he's had a fucking great year on
Oh yeah,
both brands. His stuff's been really good. On SmackDown, he's had the Taker stuff,
yeah. The
which
Taker
again,
stuff.
yeah, you compare the Taker stuff, I think, to that Edge Chavo stuff. Again, the week to week of that has been hard. I think you'll feel that because we've shown up at shows and I'll tell you like, hey, Orton and Taker need to get physical this week,
Yeah,
and you're like,
yeah,
and then we end up like, oh, a head in a box, someone gets killed, they go to the graveyard. And honestly, some of that stuff has ended up really high quality, but it could have been a very different story.
yeah.
Yeah.
I think weirdly enough, I think part of that was, and I don't necessarily know how you could have done it the other way. There was no way to like kick this off the other way, but having Orton go on the offensive first kind of made the entire feud just Taker responding and freaking him out and stuff like that. I don't think it was bad by any means, but I think there's a bit more content there if maybe Undertaker goes after Orton, even though that makes no sense with where we were and what we wanted to do. I just think that that's a different feud.
I think also another thing compromising the Orton Taker feud is that because of decisions we've made elsewhere, that I think we both stand by improving the other parts of this product, we have gone with a route that has made the Taker Orton feud worse than the real life version.
Yeah.
The Mania match is a better start than what we did.
Yeah.
The Hell in a Cell at Armageddon is better than what we've done. But again, we've made decisions that have, I think, improved the quality elsewhere. And the Survivor Series match was dope. And there's nothing to take away from that.
Yeah, I think. I was trying to think of any other highlight feuds.
I have a few. Shawn versus Ray going into Mania.
Shawn versus Ray going to Mania was great. I want to give a bit of a mention to Mysterio Helms, even though it wasn't much of a feud as much as it just was these two men wrestle each other sometimes, and other times there are things that stand in the way of them wrestling each other.
Yep.
I think,
and the Helms thing in general, on the start with Ray, you know, his build to being a really competitive babyface challenger who's really, you know, a part of the SmackDown home army, but also really good at wrestling. And then at the end here, we've had this gradual decline into he is a champion and he wants to remain champion. Jericho Taker is an interesting one because that was so difficult to get off the ground.
Yeah.
Because I, in my head, was so keen on Taker Angle and was so ready to build that. And then a couple things that happened at the back end of last year made it very difficult for us to go there. And so we moved to Jericho, Taker. And so at the start, I was like, okay, I don't know, really like any of this. And then by the time we get to No Way Out, I'm super into that feud. Taker returning and screwing Jericho out of the Cruiserweight title, Jericho being Cruiserweight champion in the first place, his interaction with Teddy Long, where he's off TV for a month, refuses to defend the belt. Teddy forces him to defend against Mysterio. Taker's back. Taker Jericho at Mania. Like all of that, I think in the end, just it's a lot of big picture moments for me rather than specifically deep character dives, but that's kind of what I book anyway. So I really like that in the end. I just wish it had been another Mania where there wasn't an alternate universe version that I preferred.
Yeah. It's unfortunate that we didn't get to do Taker Kurt.
Or Taker Orton, of course, which is really the more like the Taker Kurt thing definitely harmed me at the start, but like now looking back, the only alternative that I'm longing for is actually the Taker Orton one that happened in real life. Which obviously we're never going to be able to do that.
Yeah, it's just gone basically now. Unfortunately, we're gonna get a bit of it here, right? I think we're gonna wrap it up.
Mm-hmm.
We're gonna come back to it and wrap it up.
I mean, I'm fine with saying this. This isn't a major thing. Yeah. I think the plan is to do Taker Orton probably in Hell in a Cell at No Way Out, and that could be very fun.
Yeah, I like that. It's not as big as the original feud, of course. Like in terms of where it is on the show, I mean that'll be a pay-per-view main event. But I think it is still serviceable, if that makes any sense. I think you can.
And I do think if we nail what we've got planned for the consequences of that match, that could be really good for what happens at 22 with Taker.
Right.
Oh shit! There's one thing I wanted to mention on that topic that was coming up. Nope, ain't got it. Got any other anything else to say about what the feuds we were talking about there? That's right, I remember now. Did Orton won the Hell in a Cell at Vengeance, right? Or was it Triple H that won the Hell in a Cell at Vengeance? I think it was Triple H actually, but check for me.
I think that was Orton.
I think it was Triple H. I'd be happy if it was Orton, but I think it was Triple H.
And that was at Vengeance?
It was at Vengeance, yeah.
Oh, you can't type it, you bastards.
Did you type WWE Vengeance?
Yeah, I did.
Okay.
That was Triple H, you're right.
Yeah. So one of the things I was thinking about when we were going to return to the Orton Taker stuff is I didn't want Orton to lose to both these guys inside Hell in a Cell in the same year.
Right.
Which would have happened. But with No Way Out coming up, I mean, it's not a huge spoiler. Orton's probably going to win that one. So that's cool. And that I think ends up being a nice moment because now we can look back and say Orton faced the two best Hell in a Cell guys in their own match type in a course of a year, and he had a 50% record. So that's not bad.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah. Let me just. What was the SmackDown? Batista, again, worth mentioning, coming to SmackDown, being a defending champion, feuds with Kurt, feuds with JBL, feuds with Chavo, feuds with Eddie a little bit, not really that much though. The loss to Shelton Batista is a very minor thing, one of my favorites of the year. The whole putting Shelton in there as a class of O2 guy and having him be a really impactful guy. Obviously, we haven't seen the most of that yet, with 2006 probably set to increase Shelton's role on the roster a bit. But the fact that Shelton beats Batista clean on a SmackDown and win the world title, one of very few people to win a world title in this era, clean. Shelton in the... I've been very keen on doing what we've done with Shelton this year for a while, as Tucker will know, and Tucker's obviously I think been keen on it too and has input on the stuff. But like actually pulling that off and having Shelton be where he is, I think we could all agree, like a tier 1 main eventer is really satisfying for me.
Something I don't think it would be my favorite overall feud just because of its length, but I remember having a lot of fun doing JBL Carlito. I remember Carlito's face turn really selling me on that whole thing. I was kind of like, I don't know
You were
about
a little.
babyface Carlito, and then that feud made me be like, yeah, no, I can see how people would get behind this guy. Like, makes sense.
All right, what are you gonna go for? Best
Um,
SmackDown storyline slash gimmick slash angle slash feud.
um, damn.
Surprised there was so much to talk about there. There was a lot.
Yeah, there was a lot. I'm probably gonna end up.
Actually, you went first on the Raw, and I think it's easier to go second. So
Sure.
I'll just confirm Undertaker, Chris Jericho. I think in the end, just it had a lot of hardship, and I think it turned out really well. I really like Tori Wilson in that feud. I really like that first 2 months where Chris is off TV, gets forced to defend, the return at No Way Out. I think that came together in a way that I was not expecting it to.
Yeah, I think for me, I'd probably have to go with. I'm struggling to not say Eddie because he just keeps popping into my head, and I'm like, yeah, that was a lot of fun. Um, so then, yeah,
Well, you said you rated the Kurt Chavo thing above that earlier.
Kurt Shelton, yeah.
Yes, yeah.
Um,
See,
yeah,
it's not just Japanese people. My head's I've taken a lot of drugs
everybody.
tonight because my head's hurting.
Yeah, I would probably then side with Kurt Shelton. I think the initial bit with Mama Benjamin and stuff like that was a lot of fun.
Yep.
Having Kurt fool her, have her kind of suggest to Shelton that, hey, this is like somebody who can really help you out, eh? And then eventually Kurt.
It was the opposite, right? That was what I liked about that is that Mama Benjamin said Kurt's no good, and Shelton sent her home before the screw job. Yeah,
Good.
because he yeah.
Yeah, it was kind of. It's so weird. I don't even remember Mama Benjamin going away. I just remember like 1 week she just stopped being in the angles.
Well, it's because I can't remember what triggered it, but Kurt's true colors came out to her, and she realized he's not. He's no good, and she tried to warn Shelton, but Shelton was too blind.
Right. Yeah, I think Shelton and Kurt have they've done a lot of different things. I think that's ultimately why I'd side with it. It's gone through a lot, to the point now where both of them are willing to fight each other.
Yeah, and I think that's one of the cool things about that and challenges is that now we plan for that to finish at Mania, and we had a match here at Armageddon. So one of those challenges that we have a few times where we want this to be blown off at a specific show, but now we've got a lot of time to fill, and we got to start thinking about what story is going to be for those 3 months of build.
How are we going to get them apart for a bit, just to bring them back?
If ever, I mean, we only have two pay-per-view appearances before Mania for SmackDown now, one of which is the Royal Rumble anyway. Yeah. So there's very much room for them to feud the entire time. It's just, can we keep that fresh and exciting without it being ridiculous that they're not just killing each other?
Right.
Okay, so that is that. Can you catch me up on exactly what is happening? We are looking back at 2005 in the save right now. We've already done a lot of it. I would actually probably just recommend restarting the VOD rather than trying to catch up because we're close to the end. Right now we're going through specific talking points on the booking side. So, one thing we did last year that I like as well, disappointment. On the Raw side, which guy did we book worse than we should have?
Worse than we should have.
Yeah.
I think
which guy had way more potential than we gave him?
I think Regal is an easy mention. I think he might have even won it last year for one of us. He's just so talented, and there's just like no spot for him. It's just terrible. It just actively feels wrong. Like
for sure. I can see why people struggle to book him in real life as well, because he does have this profile where we're talking a bit about this with Ray the other day, is like he's really, really talented, and some people would just swear to God that because of just how good he is in the ring, He should just be booked really strongly and in everything.
Yeah.
But he has a very distinctive accent. He has a very distinctive look, and he likes doing things that are funny. And that's where he excels from a personal perspective, is being in something where he can make people smile or laugh. And as a heel, it makes him hard to book as a main eventer.
Yeah, he loves getting his ass out. Like both.
Yeah.
Figuratively and
Figuratively, literally, yeah.
Masters is another good show here. A lot of start stuff with him.
I agree with that, and I agree there's a ton of potential, hence why I'm trying to tap into it with this more recent push. And your pick to put in with Dauber is a masterstroke, and I hope it's going to work out well. But let's compare. Let's call a spade here.
Yeah, what do you do in real life?
Yes, exactly. And that's why I'd let us off on Masters. He's cool, but what's the end game with Chris Masters?
Yeah, he's not gonna be world champion ever. So, yeah. Just quickly scrolling through. Didn't you? Oh, that's Mark Jindrak. Never mind.
I think one of the things I did last year that you didn't consider so much, and I'm not sure if I would even put any of these guys on here this year, although there's one outside pick, is to look at the main eventers, because I think we do struggle sometimes. So like Eddie, was he champion this year? No, he wasn't on Raw.
Not on Raw, no.
No, that was last year. But like Triple H, Orton, Shawn, John, I'm not saying they're all like in this category, but they're worth considering. And one guy I would seriously consider, this might be my pick right now, but I haven't decided yet, is Cena on Raw.
He's been very quiet.
Well, sometimes he is. I don't think he's as quiet necessarily as it feels sometimes when we're booking the shows. I said this around SummerSlam that I thought losing the Kurt feud ended up actually really bothering me once I really thought about it and looked at it. The second Kurt feud, the title Kurt feud. Because I looked at that Unforgiven match and I was like, man, this is so raw, this is so brutal, this is so physical, that like, man, this does add a quiver to Cena's bow. And then I came to you with these pitches of like, he should fight Kane and Big Show to try and make up for that. Like, we should get these big strength spots. And you were really, like, at the time, you were having none of it.
It would be fucking Kane again. Are you kidding me?
Well, the thing is, we had this discussion and you were like having none of it. And then in the end, our compromise position, inadvertently, to neither of our intention, ended up with Kane versus Cena in a singles match. And
it's true.
I'm not really sure how that ended up being any better than my original idea of the triple threat. If Big Show wasn't in it. I know Big Show ended up getting a title match, but
in a triple threat.
Yes, but not involving Kane. So you got that, but like, you know, Kane still had his title match in the end. So I don't know. I think there's some stuff with that. I think if you actually look at the real life trajectory and the in-game trajectory, there's some stuff that I think is worse. I think the promo material from Cena, I do think to some extent we're a little bit different on our perspectives on Cena when we do the promo stuff.
Yeah.
I often feel this, like when I'm doing a Cena promo, when you're doing a Cena promo, we have very different ideas, I think, for what the character should be right now.
Probably.
And that I think has led to some meh booking on Cena, because when you take his booking over the year, you can feel that there's two authors.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so yeah, that's been a problem with Cena, I think, it's sometimes this year. But that's gonna get better because I think he's 06. I don't know. It's gonna be difficult. I think we both really like Cena's 06, and so we're probably gonna try and do our versions of it. So I'm sure we'll work through that in our creative process.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's been a thing this year, I think, where he's been meandering a little between what we both want to do. And then yeah, I do think, you know, he comes out and then the promos, I like the role he has. To some extent, he should be more present.
Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah,
but I don't think it's actually as big of a deal, though. I don't think he's. It's like I would want him to be like 5% more present. It's not like he's Eddie in his title reign, right? Yeah. Cena's out there accepting every challenge, wrestling most nights. I mean, let's check his match stats. Like, how many Raw matches has he had this year? Like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 since Mania. That's okay. It's a little low, but it's pretty. But it's not that low.
No.
Like, who's the workhorse on Raw? There might not be one.
I
Is
don't
there a Workhorse?
know if there's one. Renee maybe.
Yeah, I think that's a good shout. I think Renee would have worked a lot of matches on Raw. And Renee's matches don't look that extremely different since Mania. Maybe there's
No.
like 15 there at
Yeah.
max.
Yeah.
So
Um.
Sean actually, Sean is probably the guy who's wrestled the most on Raw. Yeah, no, not really.
Not really.
There's a lot of matches in there, but
Oh yeah.
yeah, John. And looking at these numbers we've just looked at, I think this reaffirms my point that Cena should be wrestling a little bit more, but I don't think it's as drastic as like 150% increase in match time. I think it is just like an extra match every 2 months or so.
Yeah. If we're strictly talking main eventers, then yeah, I think I'd end up agreeing with Cena ultimately.
But then is it significantly? Is Cena significantly? The question would be then: is Cena significantly worse than any of those mid card options we were talking about, or is there anybody who has just this amazing raw potential? I mean, obviously, guys who are injured or dead are or suspended, right? They're big or like they're big regrets for us. Most of those guys are on SmackDown. Like me, I'm mainly thinking of Kendrick and
Yeah.
Mercury.
Yeah. Dude really just derailed the whole thing. Just
derailed 2 other guys too, which is
fucked us right over. Like, just thanks, Joey.
Yeah, and yeah. So on Raw, in terms of like big potential guys, I mean, who did we like? I think we had like a ones to watch thing last year. I think Renee was our one to watch on Raw, and he's. Yep. I mean, I don't think we can have many complaints. I mean, I think you were reticent at the start because I kept saying to you, it's just like a vibe thing. Like, because I think you've gotten surprisingly more receptive to that over the year in a way that I just never expected you to get over the it's a vibe thing rather than we need to be very detailed character, which is what I know you prefer. But like, I'm surprised how much you've grown to be receptive to the more one-dimensional characters that I like, and Renee is a perfect example of it. Where I do think at times in the early days you were really not vibing with Renee because I was like, he's just a fighter dude who's really cool and kills people. And I think at times with those guys, and I could sense it with Masters, you want to go down the route of let's give him some heat,
right?
And I'm always resistant to that because like they could just be cheered. Like, there's no reason to make them bad guys.
Yeah.
I
think so. I think part of that is because now I want. How long have we been in 2005? Like,
you mean in real life?
Yeah, like a real life year, like 8 months, 9 months.
Let's go see when the Royal Rumble or when the year in review. Well, let's see both the year in review and the Royal Rumble release dates over on Rumble.
New Year's Rev first.
Yeah, sure. Because I know there was a bit of a gap there.
Yeah.
Actually, the biggest gap was between Rev and Rumble.
Interesting.
So last November we entered the year. But we had a big break because the WoW expansion came out.
Yeah.
Rumble got uploaded here in February, so I would call that basically when we started 05.
Wow.
So yeah, we haven't been here long, like 7 months.
Yeah, okay, that's fair. I would say that that acceptance. That acceptance of the more one-dimensional characters. I think it's just I don't want to say it's a maturity thing because that's not what it is. It's like an experience thing, I guess. Now I have discovered in the past, I guess, year and 3 quarters now, since it's the 9th month of 2021. I'm much better, I think, at describing why I like things, even if it's just it is
that's really
fun.
Good.
And I think I know a lot more about why I like something or why I don't like something, and how sometimes the things that I want to do where I'm like, I need like a character motivation for this guy. I need to write like a profile about him so I know what he would say in all the situations. It's pro wrestling. It's garbage entertainment. It does not need any of that. It suffers from all of that.
I want to disagree with that to some extent, because I think even in higher concept art, there is occasionally a place for the kind of simple and unexplained. Like I talk, you've probably heard me talk the praises of this film before, but I want to put it home to people. I think Kung Fu Panda is one of the greatest films of all time. I'm not even joking. I think it is a masterpiece. And part of the reason is because it is simple storytelling. It's old storytelling. It's a fable underneath it all. And yeah, it's unexplained. And that's why I've often liked physical storytelling in wrestling, is because it's emotional and because it's about like bringing you from A to B from an emotional perspective. And I think, yeah, it's not just that pro wrestling is garbage. It's just sometimes the best story is one dimensional. You know, like I think we talked about this before. A good character example everyone always uses is like Han Solo. Like if you explain Han Solo, it's a lot worse of a character.
Yeah.
The cardboard cutout is better.
Yeah.
Sorry, just to add one more point on that, because I just thought about it. Sometimes there's a lot of fun in doing both, where you have the cardboard cutout, and then later on you have what's underneath, and you realize it's actually human, and then there's a tragedy in that, or there's an excitement in that. I think Cena's a great example of his ideal storytelling for me, is that you build the cardboard cutout, and then you realize there's someone underneath, and then you start exploring that.
Interesting. But yeah, I want to say that it's just come from getting older and experiencing different things, not even wrestling. I think one of the things that has changed the way I view storytelling the most is watching both Princess Mononoke and My Neighbor Totoro, because, well, they're two very different movies. Totoro is hardly a movie. There's like a problem for like a couple minutes near the end, but for the most part it's just kind of this cool weird thing. And I think looking at I think that changed the way that I don't want to say like, oh my god, it changed the way I perceived storytelling, but I think it opened my eyes to how being wholesome doesn't have to be terrible. Like I think if you're looking from a wrestling standpoint, if I've learned anything from pro wrestling, it's that anything wholesome is terrible and evil and sucks and doesn't deserve to exist. And I think separating myself, one, from the extreme skepticism, and there's another word I'm looking for, but I can't think of it. Skepticism is what I'll have to go with. The extreme, maybe snarkiness is the right thing. Just the idea of a wrestling fan. It sounds so terrible. I'm just like, wrestling fans, you people. I stopped being one of you, and that's how I healed myself. No, but I think getting away from actual pro wrestling and beginning to think about it not so much as, well, why the fuck aren't they putting a belt on Cesaro? He's so great. And accepting, and I use him a lot as an example, accepting that there are more ways to be a successful pro wrestler than just winning all the belts. You are a successful pro wrestler by being consistently featured. You are consistently doing something. And I think just all that growth and stuff like that, a big part of that has been an acceptance that pro wrestling doesn't need like a novel behind it, and it just doesn't. Sometimes these characters can just be a cool fighter dude who beats the shit out of people, and he's French.
Yeah.
I
mean, yeah.
Personal growth, everyone.
And I mean, yeah, like you said, I think there's one thing to take about is there's a lot of ways, there's a lot of angles to come at pro wrestling booking. One of them is just pro wrestling. Right? There's a lot of tropes in the history of pro wrestling, some of which are good and some of which are bad. Like sometimes we'll approach pro wrestling and we'll say, oh, we should do this because we've always done this, but we hate it. And we do it anyway because we've always done this, but we still hate it. Yeah. And I think that's bad, personally. Yeah. But that doesn't mean it's all bad. Some of pro wrestling tropes are good because they create a structure that is fulfilling, and we don't necessarily have to throw it all out just because it's pro wrestling. You know, it's a pro wrestling trope.
Yeah.
I mean, a great example of a trope that I love and I've used for years is Monster of the Week. I love Monster of the Week.
Oh yeah.
And I don't think there's anything wrong with it, even though it mostly is. Well, it's not. That's actually not a pro wrestling thing, but in a territorial sense, it's it's got there's a pro wrestling version of it, and I don't think the pro wrestling version is bad, and I don't think we need to throw it out. We can come at it from a sports perspective. I like to do that. I'm a big fan of coming at wrestling as sports because I love sports, and I think like you've got a gold mine here. You have a sports show where you control the outcomes. You are having these emotional moments where you always get to tell a story. And the part of doing that, though, is being responsible with it. If the underdogs win the Super Bowl every year, people stop caring. Yeah. You've got to turn this into like 4 out of 6 years. It's got to be a pretty predictable outcome because then it feels like it's a sport, and then you can tell those stories those other times. And then, of course, like you say, you can come at pro wrestling from a media perspective of other types of storytelling because it's a show, it's a TV show. You can take concepts from television, from film, from literature, because at the end of the day, it is a TV show we're putting on, and there's a lot of concepts that translate fine. I mean, you went through a period in brand splits, mainly because I mentioned it, where you were like all the time looking at TV tropes, and those are storytelling structures that are sometimes bad because people see them coming, but oftentimes aren't because they've worked for a long time.
And I think something that was especially all right with using TV tropes, even though people might know and recognize them if they saw them in a TV or a movie, pro wrestling is all about tweaking things. It's all about, well, what's the little difference? And I think even just seeing it in a pro wrestling ring instead of on a movie screen or something like that, I think it kind of changes it a little bit. I think it becomes less, because, the tropes that are existent and very common in television and movies aren't necessarily super common in pro wrestling. So, even something that is the most brain dead movie trope in the world could still be decently interesting from a wrestling perspective.
I agree.
Yeah.
All right. So, who's your most underutilized guy here on Raw this year?
I think we got to give it to John, right? If we're saying underutilized and not disappointing, absolutely John Cena. Like
disappointing, and the disappointment in that doesn't land on John; it lands on us. If you know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I think when we did it the first time around, we had some picks that were we didn't do that much with these people, and then we had some picks that were we gave these guys well enough opportunity and they just have not done anything with it. Fortunately, I feel like with 05, most of the opportunities we've given to people, they have succeeded on. They have
That's true.
taken in stride and continued to do well, I guess.
Before you confirm in John Cena, can I interest you?
Yes.
In a Chris Jericho.
You can. I probably won't take
it. Because I would never. I think honestly, I would never put him up on SmackDown because I'm really happy with the SmackDown run.
Yeah, I think.
But Raw. I mean, he did main event 2 pay-per-views.
Yep, and I think there's definitely an argument.
Yeah, I mean, he completely dropped off the map after that, really. Now he's teaming with Stevie Richards. What did he even do at SummerSlam? Oh, yeah, he was singing and had a weird thing with Hogan.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, being with Hulk Hogan is a big deal. That's another thing. That's our perception versus reality thing. When we look at that and we look at the Shawn Hogan feud, we probably don't think of it as a big deal because we slapped it together. We didn't pay that much attention to it. We barely explained all the angles. However, when you actually look at those shows, and if they were run in real life, those would be big deals.
Oh yeah, big. Yeah, I don't think I would end up giving it to Jericho. As much as definitely he wasn't exactly
featured.
Prominent? Yeah, I guess I wanted to say like his potential was not fulfilled fully this year. Like I think. But I like the tag team with him and Stevie, even though it's really in my head just a look. Like, it's just the two of them, and they look kind of cool. You've got Stevie Richards, who's like I think I've said this before, Stevie Richards is like grunge-influenced, while Chris Jericho is more like glam rock, you know what I mean? He's a rock star. And then I think the two of them, whatever like weird like music tag team I have in my head. um,
What do you think about New America? Because I think the vignettes of sharply dressed um, Arab Americans with the cool planes and everything, and them debuting and having some pretty cool promos, most of which was you, and then the match with Cena, and then off a cliff, gone.
my only argument is that Hassan's ceiling is pretty low, anyways.
I mean, that's what you did give up on Hassan halfway through the push. I remember
Oh,
that actually happening where you watched a real life promo of his and you were like, I
oh,
never want him
yeah. I was
ever
like,
again.
he's bad. He's really bad. What the fuck? Like, I was just told for years, like, this guy should have been WWE champion. This dude had everything going for him, and then they fucked it up on him with some really bad timing and some fucked up decision making. And then I heard him talk, and I went, oh my fucking god, this guy can't even cut a promo. What the hell are we doing here? He can't work. He can't talk. He isn't even a fucking Arab. He's Italian. Like, what the hell are we doing here? Like, why am I trying to care about this?
I know we've talked about this before, but now that the whole run is basically over, how down are you to get him off TV for 2 months and bring him back post Mania under a different name as a member of the FBI?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Like just yeah. I think.
So you think what I gathered there is you wouldn't consider New America here because their ceiling was so low anyway.
When he fought John Cena, we were even aware. Like, we were like, yeah, the Muhammad Hassan pay-per-view. Like, he's gonna fight John Cena for the belt. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll also throw in there that we wanted to have a reaction to 7-7, and we decided on de-pushing him after that as well. And so coming back from that's probably hard.
Yeah.
I mean, look at real life. This was a lot better because we didn't do something really stupid with The Undertaker. But
I forget that 7-7 is like a thing in the UK. But like, it's just like I know obviously of 9/11. Obviously, you know, it's the big one. Sounded so fucking weird the way I just said that. But yeah, I forget that, like, oh yeah, no, there's definitely like just regional things that the outside world doesn't really discuss or think about a whole bunch, and but they're very important to that specific country. Because and I think it's just because like literally you don't hear about it anywhere else.
Yeah.
And so like when I hear
whereas
like,
with the United States, because they're so prevalent culturally in the English speaking world, you do hear about that. Whereas with the other countries, you might less so because you don't get your media and your news from the UK.
Exactly.
Well, you might actually, but you know, non-Canadians.
But not. I'm more likely to watch American news than British news, mostly because American news is a dumpster fire of entertainment. But yeah.
Okay, who's your final pick here on Raw?
I'm gonna go Cena. I have to. You sold me on it. You're definitely right. I've definitely felt weird at times with John just because it feels like he's kind of in neutral this year, but I think that's just because we really like 06 for him, and 06 is like he wins the belt at Mania, and then like in my head like the next step is like 06, but in reality you have to have him have the rest of his 05 where he has a fairly successful title run to get to 06 to make 06 impactful.
And we have laid building. I'm trying to convince myself out of picking Cena as well here, and I think I might succeed. We've laid some really good building blocks. Triple H's Survivor Series is fucking killer.
Yep.
The feud was fucking killer.
Yes.
The match I think did well. It would have done in real life. I didn't like Triple H John Cena at the time because it was slow and long, and it was a Triple H match.
Yeah.
But in hindsight, it's actually pretty good. You know why? Because John Cena's really good. And it's a really good John Cena match because like Triple H is big and strong and does work him over.
I was gonna say Triple H also is an offense guy, like as compared to like, Randy Orton.
At the time, I was so much more of a fan of Shawn Michaels John Cena from the year after. In retrospect, God, have I changed my mind? Like the Triple H match is actually significantly the 23 main event I gotta admit, I'm not a huge fan of. But we laid the building. Triple H has gone down. The Chris Benoit stuff, I'm huge.
Yeah.
One of my favorite. I think I actually did pick that as my Raw feud of the year was the Benoit stuff, and I still, again, I think we had some problems with booking that, which it is what it is. It's both of our series, but like, I still conceptually loved that feud as an idea, and what we got on the page, as it were, out of my head was fine. It was good. It wasn't exactly what I'd hoped for, but it was good. And the match was killer because those two are killer, and it continues. So I think I'm going to talk myself out of John Cena. I don't know who I'm going to pick instead because Jericho's been fine. New America, I think you've convinced me, has been fine. Maybe the MLS, maybe all of the tag team division of Raw. I'm going to pick just if we had some more coherence and some more spotlight.
Yeah.
I think the tag division this year had all of the components to be good, and it wasn't. So, yeah, I'm gonna go with a very slimy pick there, and the entire tag division of Raw.
I think that's fair, though. Like, absolutely. Like, I think one of the biggest things with that during the summer when I was like, man, Raw is just dead to me. Like, what the hell? I think it really was because those tag team belts sat.
Because I was suggesting John Cena versus Kane. Yeah, I get it. It's
that, but also, those tag belts sat on Dean and Lance for a while, and it's not like there were other options to give it to, really. Like, I mean, I guess there were some, but like, where would I rather the belts be? Probably just on those two, ultimately, the whole time.
And I don't think the problem was with them having the belts, because I would have still done that even if we did it again. It's just that we never built up a tag match that we told people to care about.
Yeah.
And that's where I think we could have changed it. Because, I agree with you. There's nobody else that could have taken the belts. But them fighting against Charlie Haas at the Big Show, them fighting against New America, them fighting against Lashley and OJ, or figuring out that OJ needs a tag partner earlier, or there's all these things. We did all of these things, but having the right lens, which is so important, like making sure, because we told people don't care about the tag division, and with our actions and our booking, and because of that, nobody did, and we didn't, and I think that was the mistake. And it happened on SmackDown as well, but SmackDown had a worse talent pool. So,
exactly, SmackDown had a worse talent pool, so they had.
Because we split the tag divisions up.
Yeah.
Bit of is our fault.
Better hand than I'd say ultimately, just because of the less talent. Like, I think there's a bit more forgiveness there, I think. Just because there was not as many options on SmackDown at all.
And we ended up going the nuclear option, which is put it on an all-star team, which works. Because it worked with Eddie and Chris as well.
Yeah.
All right, most disappointing guy on SmackDown?
Hold on here. Let me take a look. Booker's up there. Yep.
Well, for me, I think it might be open and shut Booker T. I don't know. It's hard because he needs a year off probably, but there's definitely stuff he could do.
Yep. There's definitely things that could happen. I mean,
The thing is, SmackDown for so much of the year was pretty tight. We both agreed. We sat down, we booked it. It was fun. It was tight. It was crisp. We barely even thought about it. Thing is, we barely even thought about Booker T. And so, there's a lot of guys on here that we could talk about, but man, there's a lot of guys who realize their potential. We look at the main eventers on Raw. I could have an argument for Triple H, John Cena, Shawn Michaels, Chris Jericho. I could probably talk an argument that those guys were underutilized this year. Kurt Angle? No way. No. Chavo Guerrero? No way. Shelton Benjamin? Not a chance. Batista? No. Eddie? No. JBL on SmackDown? No. Even on SmackDown, he was great. I don't know. I think you have to get really. And look, the sacrifice is there's not an. No, I don't even think so, because we gave him a big feud and then we fucked him off like we were expecting to.
Yeah.
And the problem is, on SmackDown, the undercard guys didn't get that spotlight because on Raw, we were desperate for fucking content.
Oh, yeah.
But on SmackDown, we didn't need to because we had 8 guys that we liked and we paid attention to. Ray's an argument, but we talked in depth on the stream the other day that Ray's a hard guy to book. Yeah. I mean, Tajiri's had a decent year for who he is, but I could be talked around to having it.
I think so. I think there's a bit of a period in here where he kind of gets lost in the shuffle. I guess that isn't shown really on here, but it definitely felt like for a little while he kind of went from being Well, he went from being in the Elimination Chamber to start on Raw for the World Heavyweight Championship to just kind of being a guy. Like he was just like a dude.
I think a part of that is that I put a lot of emphasis when he came back on his relationship with Coyote. And I wanted to make that a big deal and explore it and keep them as part of the show, maybe as a face version of the FBI who have been well used.
Right.
And then when you get to the show and you start booking, you're like, do I want to book Coyote?
No.
No.
Don't want to
really.
book Wesh. Like, fucking Wesh.
So maybe it's the kind of thing where it's like, maybe in order for the good of the show, we should really have in the late summer had an explosive blow off of Coyote, pick the assets we liked, and let them run.
Probably.
Like we did, by the way, like we did, and people laughed at us for this, or at least laughed at me, and I think you were part of it. When we made a big deal out of La Resistance breaking up. Where are you guys now? By the way, because that was important to do. And I think like we did with New America recently as well, we could probably do something with that. I don't think we're going to. We've had a week off of it, but like we could. And sometimes you got to sit. I think we talked about this with the Shield a long time ago. Sometimes you do have to sit down and say, look, one of these guys could be good. I don't like the others. We need to blow this up. I'm not saying that I agree with the timing on the Shield breakup, but that is a genuine thing you've got to do sometimes.
Yeah, there have to be sacrifices made ultimately in a breakup. There's going to be somebody who succeeds far better than anybody else, and I guess the Shield, both Reigns and Rollins came out pretty decent, and then
I would say the opposite from the breakup. It was definitely Dean and Seth that got the better end of that from the booking.
Yeah, definitely like right initially because they got to feud with each other, and Roman got to go fight like Kane and like Orton and shit. Because there you go, prepare you for your title feud, by fighting people that nobody gives a fuck about.
So for me, my open and shut choice is Booker T. I think.
Okay, I'll side with. My other choice, where is he here? Shit, I had another name and I saw him and I was like,
Tajiri, you clicked on?
Tajiri is a good shout. I think another guy is Mark Henry. Mark really didn't do anything this year until the end.
Well, so I agree with you to some extent. So I'm going to list out some things. He came back from being thrown into the ocean.
Yes.
He feuded with JBL for the title.
Yes.
He was a big monster threat to JBL inside the barbed wire steel cage.
Yep.
Then, at some point, he feuded with Eminem.
Yep.
Not our fault that Eminem got destroyed.
Died. Yeah.
Yeah. I think had played a good part in the Lita Edge stuff. I think Mark was a good part in that.
Yep.
You know, I think it fit his character quite well as well. I still think Mark's a guy you only want to work 4 months a year.
It's fair.
I do not think we've done the best with him this year. But I'm not sure how much higher his ceiling is.
Yeah, that's fair. And I also think that like a large part of my thinking is because the Mark Henry that I remember is like 2011 world champion Mark Henry, where he's a crazy promo and is booked like an absolute dominant beast. It's not 2004 Mark Henry, 2005 Mark Henry. So I think that's definitely part of it. But yeah, Mark was just a name I think that I want to throw out there. I might end up going with Tajiri. Just a casualty of Coyote.
We're having this conversation because it's academic, but the real answer we all know is obviously Doug Basham. But we don't really need to talk much about that for obvious reasons.
He'll never attain his potential, dragged down by this absolute bug.
How do you feel about The Undertaker?
Fine.
Loses to JBL, loses to Kurt both on pay-per-view. The feud with Jericho, I mean, I've talked about how much I like that, but you could think differently at the start of the year. The Kurt stuff, the Sting stuff, the JBL stuff, they were feuds that they didn't have a lot of focus.
Yep.
Randy stuff got, I think, better. But again, the Randy stuff we talked about, we liked it for content, but when we really look at it, there's not a lot of substance in the build.
Yeah.
There's once the match and the aftermatch, there is a lot of substance to. Those are important, but the build. So I don't know. I think Taker could be a contender here.
Yeah, I think Taker's a pretty good shout. I don't think it's awful because I can't tell you a single thing he did in 2005.
The Orton feud.
Oh, okay. Well, all right. You know what? Little bit, all right. But outside of that, I can't name you a single thing he did. Mostly because I think he was like gone most of the year, right? Because they.
If you Hassan as well.
Oh God.
Start of the year.
Oh God. Poor Mark Calloway. Poor guy.
How do you feel about some cruiserweights? So Rojo and Skipper. I think Skipper has had a shine. So Skipper's had a shine at the start of the year.
Yeah.
So I don't know if you would do this because I feel like you'd be hesitant to, but I'd be happy to take it. The thing you could criticize Skipper for is how well I've done booking him, because I'm not sure it's been that great, if I'm being honest. But I've been trying to feature him, but you could say he's been underutilized just because I've been failing to do it well.
Yeah, I would say maybe a little bit, yeah, but I think that kind of just became in my head just a cruiserweight thing, like people rotate in and out of focus around the title, kind of like the women do, you know what I mean? So when Elix shows up and is suddenly a very competent competitor and is now going to fight for the cruiserweight title, I don't really bat my eyelashes at that too much. Like it's
that's less what I meant. I think there was a build up of him winning feuds. I was just thinking maybe about just the booking, because obviously, like, once he was in there, he had a feud that lasted like 3 months or so. And if you I think there's an argument to be made that it wasn't amazing from the like match and angle point of view, but
right.
Yeah, I think I would disagree with the idea that he just suddenly appeared in the division. He had, the four guys in that fatal four-way were feuding on and off for a while.
Interesting, because to me it felt like he mostly came out of nowhere, which might be a bit of a.
I mean, look at the match history. Go look at the match history. I think it'll prove it.
Yeah, sure, please. What do we got here? Here he is. Okay, Pinball.
There it is. The Kid Cash feud. It's right there over a month.
Yep. Yeah, you're right. Yep. Yeah. He definitely showed up and then did some. Yeah, not awful. You're right. Fair play.
It's just the Kid Cash feud is the big one that they had a lengthy feud over the stoppage finish and Skipper won the match, right? So
yeah, somebody who on the opposite end, somebody who's done really well in limited amount of time to shine has been Kid Cash. He's kind of awesome. Like, he's kind of completely awesome.
I think last year was better for him.
I agree.
But he's lulled his way into a role.
I was gonna say he got, I think, less time this year, and I think my takeaway is still similar. It's this guy's pretty fun good. So yeah.
Why is he annoyed?
Why is he annoyed? That's a good question. Why are you annoyed? He lost to someone.
I do not like that he's furious about One Night Stand, and I was not made aware. But
I didn't even know either.
Can we give him 20 grand?
Sure.
Cool. So who's I gave Booker to you. Is your final pick Tajiri? I kind of disagree with that. I think he's been okay.
It's fair. I think it's a fair disagreement.
I mean, he won the Intercontinental title, which I know wasn't on SmackDown. That's fine. You should ignore that because we're talking about just on SmackDown. Yep. But he won the US title at the end of the year in a major feud. We missed Edge in that big match. He did have a few angles where Coyote was presented as a big deal. He's for about a month before the Edge thing, I was constantly putting him on TV to win matches.
Yep.
And then he also was in the big cruiserweight triple threat at SummerSlam.
Yeah, that's absolutely fair. I'm mostly saying Tajiri just to avoid also saying Booker because
you could say Booker. He's big.
It is Booker. Like, come on. Okay. Like, the dude is money for some reason. Well, I know why he is money for some reason, because he's pretty fucking good. But
Oh, before we go off this topic,
yeah,
Edge. What do you think about Edge? I think there's an argument to be made for Edge at times.
There's definitely
more so last year,
there's
but this year as
definitely
well.
a bit of an argument to be made. I think his U.S. title run was on and off a little bit.
Yeah,
but I think he was around. You know what I mean? Like I don't think super underutilized, just because we knew that we couldn't do too much with him, and so he kind of ended up being stuck in neutral a little bit and just kind of floated around from mid-carder to mid-carder.
Okay. Worst / most disappointing feud / angle / storyline / gimmick on Raw. It's the worst thing we did this year.
I'm gonna mention Sir Shawn Michaels as a.
Whoa, really?
I fucking hated that shit so much.
Really?
It's so fucking bad. It hurts me. It hurts.
Really?
Me. Sir Shawn is like pain, like absolute pain. Like it's.
Man, you've got to be better about just not laughing along when you hate something. I thought you were into that. I know you now. I guess I know now that you were laughing out of ridicule.
Yeah,
but I thought you were into it, man. Like I love that shit.
Yeah, no, I was laughing because it was fucking absurd as hell. Like I like it because it's absurd as hell, but also like what the fuck, like Sir Shawn Michaels.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh.
Sir Shawn Michaels, dude. Jesus.
Yeah, he was great. You got. I don't. Yeah, I can't. It would be a long defense of it.
Like it's not like I'm not picking it. You know, like I'm not going to pick it. Absolutely not, because it was fun and it was meant to be fun. It just like. Just Sir Shawn Michaels just was
okay.
So
if it was fun and it was meant to be fun, what was wrong with it?
Oh, just Sir Shawn Michaels is just so cringe to me. It's just and the fact that we made it his actual name for a little bit. There are matches in this where he will be Sir. Only one match apparently where he is Sir Shawn Michaels.
Okay, I'm fine if you can't. But is there any way of explaining to me why you don't like that? Because you seem very passionate about that, and I really don't understand.
I think it's just. Can I explain this at all, or is it just a feeling thing? I think it probably just roots in. Not wanting to make Shawn totally a meme. Like, I think that was my only concern with it, especially when I thought it was going to go longer initially. Like I thought he was going to be Sir Shawn Michaels for like 4 or 5 months. Like I was like, oh my god, what have we done?
Okay. I want to answer a little bit of that. I'm not going to do the full defense, but just try and
go ahead.
Get more out of the conversation. Shawn Michaels winning a major award and basking in it is very much consistent with what I think a non-meme Shawn Michaels character is.
That's true.
And throughout, this is an extreme extrapolation, but it's good to do these things.
Sure.
I would have been comfortable with him being Sir Shawn Michaels, not in his title necessarily, but that being a part of his litany of achievements for the rest of his career. I think it would make complete sense if every time he's in a Mania main event and they go through all of the accomplishments, whether like he's Mr. WrestleMania, he's the showstopper, he's a former world champion, Sir Shawn Michaels, a Knight of the Order. I think I don't find anything full meme about that for me. I think that's completely consistent with Shawn Michaels.
Okay, that's fair. Man just said Sir Shawn Michaels. There's nothing full meme about that to me. That's real.
Yeah.
No, like I partially I'm like I shouldn't have brought it up because it's not a large gripe. Like it didn't last very long, but I just remember in the moment being like, Oh my fucking god. Sean, I'm so sorry. After your 04, I'm so sorry that we're doing this still. um Even though like his 04 was good, he just lost a whole bunch to a lot of different guys. Um worst feuds on Raw. I have to give a nod to what was egregiously painful. There actually isn't that much that's coming to the top of my head. I think I was trying to think anything with Hassan, but I think everything that Hassan was in that was actually like a storyline was done pretty well. Um
I think the women are actually pretty good this year from top to bottom.
yeah, I think I'll give an honorable mention to Simon Dean. He's intentionally terrible.
He's also had he's had a couple problems this year, where we've started a feud with him and then we've gone on a break. And so we come back and then we just dropped it. And then we think, oh, well, we can't feud these guys again because we've already done it.
Yeah.
And we basically rapid fired through every babyface on the roster because we decided not to give him a long feud. And then we finally decided to do it. And, Mark Jindrak's dead. So.
Bastard.
At this point, there's an argument to say Simon Dean should just go back down to Dev because it has been a dead on arrival, really.
A little bit, yeah. A little bit, definitely. What else was pain?
I'm still reeling from the Shawn Michaels thing, by the way. It's honestly one of it'd be in one of the top feuds we've done with him this year.
I knew it would be. I knew you'd be all about it. God damn it.
Yeah, I think it's like and the fact that you ended that by saying, this is it was bad for him. You were like, oh, sorry, Sean. It was like, man, this is like peak stuff. Like he was fighting William Regal in a well-built feud with some really big moments that probably would have drawn ratings. But
you're probably right.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe I'm more receptive to stuff you would consider to be. I don't know if there's much I would even consider to be a meme. So
yeah, that's fair.
Because even with I don't know how I still don't know how much you actually believe in Doug Basham, but I'm ready to push him to the moon. Unironically, so.
I actually liked doing this feud, but I think it needs a mention. Trish Stratus and the Dicks. It's just, like I loved doing it. Like it's fucking great.
Okay,
but also
I'm gonna come to it. Another. Here comes Puddy again, defending a meme feud. So. She has so many of our women's stars are just off TV when they're not in the title feud.
Yeah.
That was one of the biggest moments where she became the second women's storyline. Talia was good. I think we could have leaned into it more, and I think sometimes you're too scared of the memes. We could have had a blow off with that feud. This is why, if you look, Talia's been pretty prominent on Raw afterwards. Why? Yeah. Because I think that she's obviously not recognizable, but she should be.
Yeah.
I think that was good for Trish, good for the women's division, really good for Talia. I think it was good. If they were called anything other than the Dicks, yes, it wouldn't be a feud.
Yeah.
But it would have been a good feud. Exactly. If it was based on anything other than them being the Dicks, then it would have been fine. But because they were called the Dicks, you think it's a meme. But also, obviously the feud was built around that.
Yeah.
Same token, though, I don't know.
Yeah, no, I absolutely agree. It's like, the whole thing is that, haha, they're the Dicks, but also, oh god, they're the Dicks. It's just, I'm actually struggling to come up with anything.
Ultra King?
Yeah, a little bit.
Kane fighting for the title at Rumble? No, yes at Rumble, but also Unforgiven.
Yes, but also, as individual feuds, I'm not sure that they were that terrible, if that makes any sense. There's
Hulk Hogan versus Shawn Michaels.
Hogan Michaels is actually a pretty good shout, just because it kind of just occurred, and it was okay, yeah, we did the cool match, I guess.
JBL versus OJ.
Well, that never got to happen. So
I mean, it started.
it did.
And then it didn't finish. Which,
Oh,
if
so
it
then
had
in that
finished,
case, JBL Renee was so fucking terrible. It didn't even start. What's wrong with these people?
no, what I'm saying was that because it started and didn't finish, that I think puts it up for a disappointing feud, right? Whereas, yeah,
I think
um,
I was trying to think of anything really terrible that we did with. Unfortunately, I think there isn't a whole bunch that we dropped the ball on. Dare I say? So it makes it pretty tough to come up with something that was actually just bad.
Kane and Big Show getting together.
Kane and Big Show getting together was a bit of a casualty hostage thing. You know what I mean? Like its situation was changing, and so unfortunately, we didn't get to do everything we wanted to do with that.
No, I disagree with that. We just forgot about it. I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty sure on a lot of those shows where we were meant to do things, we just didn't do them.
That's fair.
I think the next show we were like, well, I guess we'll adapt. I'm pretty sure it wasn't us reacting to things. I'm pretty sure we just forgot to do things. Yeah.
Fair. Yeah.
There's some other feuds like that obviously we don't remember. I think a lot of DMLS stuff in that mid portion.
Yeah.
I think that and the Dean stuff I think it goes hand in hand, where it's like we threw people at them because we had nothing else to do, but then we would never go back to those pairings.
Yeah.
Which was problematic. The whole idea of DMLS having a rotation, we didn't put enough spotlight on that. Like having Benoit come in, be more of a big deal, having them be a more prevalent part of the program. I think the early stuff was good because we were explaining who they were, and I think that was good. And then afterwards, we just kind of left them to rot and never had we needed, I think, to have multiple people who disagreed with their ethos, challenge them. I think Masters is a good idea for that, but we never really did much of it, where Masters would be more of a it doesn't matter necessarily about following the rules and being a competitor. It's about being a star. Maybe Johnny Nitro versus DMLS is a feud we could still do.
I like that.
Could be fun.
I like that. Yeah. Hope pray that Joey gets back in time. Yeah, I don't know about that one.
Yeah, I don't know either.
Yeah, I think those are all pretty good points.
Anything at Mania? Can I see the Mania card?
Yeah, sure. Why not?
Actually, I think it's better. Actually, show me the Raw roster.
This is the Raw roster.
Oh, geez, that's way too big. Get wrestlers. Get Mike Dakota out of there. Get wrestlers, not in any in-ring role, just wrestlers, because I don't want the occasional guys coming in either. That's more manageable to look at. Actually, can you click on contracts real quick? Am I right in saying that perception is in the contracts view? Hell yeah, it is. Sort by perception. There you go. That's easy to look at. Yeah, I think the Sandavari stuff is kind of fine. It's meandered a bit, but I wouldn't call any of it outright bad.
Yeah, that's...
Val Venus never did anything this year. That's unfortunate. Rick, Triple H, you liked. Yeah, I was kind of okay with it as well. Kane kills Maven was pretty bad.
What do you mean, dude? I mean, I wanted Kane to... Dude, at WrestleMania, when they list out all of their achievements, I wanted to say, Kane, whom killed Maven. Every time.
It's pretty based, I'm not going to lie.
Thank you.
I'll stand by that Shawn Michaels take, by the way.
That's fair, yeah. No, absolutely. That's fair. It wasn't, bad. I just thought it was kind of cringy. That's the best way to put it. Little bit cringe. To be fair, that's also the Dix feud. A little bit cringe.
We have more recognizable people in this roster.
Yeah, I don't know, honestly. Maybe I don't have one. I've got to have one, don't I? I'm gonna
Probably
go with
something.
I'm gonna go with.
You hated Midsummer Raw so badly that surely there's something in there that was like, man, that sucked.
I'm gonna say DMLS, specifically Charlie Haas.
Really?
Just Charlie didn't do shit.
All right.
And I think he could have. I like obviously he's not going to be Shelton, but I think he could have done more. Maybe he should have just been one of my mentions for most underused. But I'll go with DMLS as and their summer as my least favorite storyline, with a special focus on Charlie Haas sitting around doing nothing.
I'm gonna go with Hogan Michaels.
Yep, that's fair.
Yeah, and that's gonna be very similar to what I'm gonna pick for SmackDown.
I'm trying to think what would the SmackDown version of that be.
Yeah, because with Shawn and Hogan, there's actually a beat in there, and you probably can tell what it was because it's the one fucking line I said in the entire build. That I actually think that story could have been fun, but I literally forgot about it until 2 weeks before Survivor Series. So, c'est la vie.
Yeah, I assume that is I need to know.
I need to know.
Yeah,
I like that. I like that.
Yeah, I really like that. It was so simple. It was like I loved it. Like Shawn and Hogan really did just miss each other in terms of the Fed.
Mm-hmm.
Like when Hogan came back in 2002, Shawn was still on the shelf until late 2002 when Hogan was mostly gone. Like, yeah, like
yep.
I liked it a lot, honestly. Like, as much as obviously it's just a lot of it in my head. I think that one line did all of the build, if that makes any sense.
Yeah.
Like it was.
No, and I agree that it could have still been a simple build, even if I had paid more attention to it.
Right.
But there's more to be done there to like tease it and get that moment where the match is made. And I think we had a good idea with having Nitro being involved. The problem was because we weren't paying enough attention to make it good, Nitro just got in the way. Like we didn't do anything good with Nitro. And that, like, if we were going to do a simple build where we don't give a shit, we should have just kept Nitro out of it because it just complicated everything.
Yeah.
And that's, again, learning from this year in review. That's why I'm happy that we do have another chance to use Hogan in a good way. I'm very excited for what Hogan's going to do at SummerSlam this year. And I hope we don't fuck it up.
We won't.
All right. Worst feud on SmackDown. Most disappointing. Shittiest gimmick. Whatever you want to go for. What is it? Bigger roster.
Bigger roster, yeah. I think
it does have 2 tag team divisions to fill.
I think a good mention is I actually didn't hate it too badly. But the Road Warriors coming together and then just doing nothing. Like they kind of just hung out for a little bit.
Yep. Although they've been one of the most and this is another, I think, perception versus reality thing, because they've pretty much been on every show, I think. Like they're one of the most frequently used people on SmackDown since they're coming together. They wrestle a lot. Right. But because what happens is we put them together in a tag match at the start of the show and then we don't think about them anymore. I think that adds to your perception that they've done nothing. And look, they've done nothing. I agree with that. But if the shows were being run in real life, people would know they're there, would enjoy their matches, and they would just be they would be a shit budget Usos of the era. Like you love the Usos when their match is on, and then after the match is finished, you forget the Usos exist until they come out to wrestle again. That's kind of what the Road Warriors are.
Favorite line ever, and I've quoted it many times, and I don't remember who initially said it, but it was, "Tell me something you know about the Usos outside of they are," and this was like before they turned heel, and before they, I mean, even then their heel characters were not characters, they were just bad dudes all of a sudden. They just wanted to hurt people for some reason. Like it was, "Tell me something you know about the Usos aside from they are brothers. They are generally likable people. They're Samoan." Like, personality-wise, who the fuck are Jimmy and Jey Uso? Who are they? Who are these men on our roster we don't know anything about?
Also, fun thing to think about. We finished Raw now, basically. There's one more question I have, but it's not about the past. We didn't mention Coachman and Palmer Cannon at all. I don't know whether that's a good thing or a bad thing, but
I think Coach and Palmer had really high highs and really low lows, and I think that's why they escaped both conversations there, because I think we had a lot of fun doing it. I don't think it was as focused as it could have been, but I think ultimately in the end, what did you want from it? Like,
Yeah.
what did you want? It was fucking Coachman and Palmer Cannon. The only way it could have been any better was if we literally got Coachman versus Palmer Cannon, which we couldn't do. Sorry about that. That's my bad. Signing Coach back wrong. But instead, Bobby Lashley killed him. So whatever.
Yeah. So back to the SmackDown stuff here. I'm trying to think of stuff I really hated. There's one, I know what I'm saying. I'm going to save it. I'm not going to talk about it unless you bring it up. I think, even though we talked about it in the best feud, there were moments of Edge Chavo that I did not like. Like I was telling you, and that's just because, again, I just had so much trouble booking it, and I had so much trouble. Like, that was the thing. It was just the mechanics of it. I was just, sometimes I say to people, and I say this to myself, just don't think about it, whatever. But like, I couldn't stop myself thinking about that. This is kind of stupid. Like, and there were, I couldn't get over it. And there were periods where I wish there were ways I could mechanically solve this in a clean enough way that I just don't think about it and we get onto the emotional stuff, which, like you said, was really good.
Yeah.
But I couldn't come up with a solution that was like, just satisfied me. I didn't need something that worked. It was just like, okay, that's fine. You know, whatever.
The one that I wanted to mention real quick, because I absolutely dropped the ball on it. It went way too long because I absolutely dropped the ball on it. I had some ideas, but not enough to make it work. Booker T, Ken Kennedy.
That's not all your fault, but go on.
I think there were weeks where the story beats were far too slow. There were some weeks where I feel like we did maybe a bit too much too fast. I think there were entire weeks where they just didn't do anything. And they were supposed to be in a literal blood feud, and they just, like, sometimes weren't on the show. It's not the worst, but in a situation in which most of the things that we do in a year aren't ever going to be bad, I think dropping the ball on something like that. Yeah, exactly. I was gonna say, I'm like, we're never gonna do anything really terrible. So I think that, and just kind of, I think it could have been done a lot snappier, like even being shorter, keeping similar beats but making it much shorter, and keeping that intensity at where it should have been the whole time, because by the time we were blowing it off, it was like, oh yeah, shit, we gotta, like, do that. Yeah, shit. Whoops.
Yeah, so I think I agree with you on some points. I think some of the beats, which I did push over to you, and I do agree that, like, some of the week to week stuff ended up being a little bit off either.
Yeah.
Like, I agree exactly. I think sometimes it was too slow and sometimes it was too fast, and sometimes they just missed out because sometimes it's a consequence of SmackDown being a tight show, and sometimes it's just we fucked up. We should have booked them in a prominent position.
Yeah.
There are two things I'm going to let you off on, though, that I think it's important to mention. One is the circumstances, and part of those circumstances are me being like imposing them, but part of them are just the circumstances. So the one thing is, the biggest thing with the circumstances is that Booker T and Sharmell got divorced in real life.
Yeah.
Right? And that's weird and awkward. And part of the whole feud was to try and get that resolved in our heads, because we kind of wanted those two to be together, but we also didn't want to make them be husband and wife on screen when they're not.
Yeah.
So we got, and that was kind of the thing with I don't think you were actually uncomfortable with it at the start, and probably left to your own devices. You wouldn't have given a shit. You just would have made them husband and wife. But when I started talking through with you that, like, this is a bit weird, I think that we shouldn't do that, I think I kind of turned you around on it to be like, okay, yeah, I agree. And but also, my fault that I'm going to exonerate on you is that I'm pretty sure towards the end of that feud, you were pretty convinced it was done. And I wasn't satisfied with it being done. I was like, I don't feel like there's been a blow off here. And so I kept telling you, hey, we got to continue this Ken Kennedy Booker T feud and blow it off in a couple weeks. And I could tell that you were like, oh, we're not done with that yet. And I was like, no, I'm not, there hasn't been a blow off. And I think if you had it your way, you would have left it die at one of the earlier matches. And I, partially because we had, and this was both of us, we didn't have anything else for Booker to do, and I wasn't happy that the feud had been sufficiently blown off, and I felt that it was a bit of a blow feud too. I was like, I think we should blow it off, and pushed you to extend it a bit, and yeah, I agree, it was long. But I kind of agree. I think you've actually hit on a good shout though, because when you actually think about it, not mechanically, but if you take the resources we had in that feud, young guy we like, Ken Kennedy, old guy we like, Booker T, Sharmel's situation in there, the fact we got Stevie Ray, which was big, you could pop people, could make it interesting. All of those resources, actually, that should have been good, and it wasn't. So I think you've actually come on a good shout there. Any other quick mentions before I'll give my answer, and then we can talk about it, and then you can give yours.
Anything I can think of really fast? No, I think I'm good.
All right, so here's mine, and again, this is one of your feuds, so I'll try and be gentle. It's Taker Sting.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So here, to give the context to people, I wanted to do Taker Sting. I don't know the first thing about Sting's career. I don't care about Sting. I don't give a single shit about Sting. And so I just pawned it off to Tucker, who I imagine doesn't care that much about Sting either, but knows a lot more about him than I do. And so I was hoping, these are two characters, big characters. You could have found some moments there, some build there. I like kind of structure nudged you a bit. I was like, I'd probably get physical this week. We should probably book the match this week. But the angles were never anything. So it is what it is. I wouldn't have booked it better. Just to get it out there, I would not have booked it any better.
The most difficult thing is the Sting character that we were bringing in was going to be Sting at his most popular in WCW, right? Because that's what we were doing it for. We wanted that WCW WWE feud thing, which means it's Crow Sting, which means he does not speak. He shows very little emotion. He's just sad. He just is upset about the state of everything. The Undertaker, on the other hand, doesn't speak very often, doesn't appear very often, only ever really gets physical when he's provoked. How do you have somebody who can't speak provoke somebody who doesn't show up? I was literally scratching my head like, fuck, there's no reason for these two to fucking ever get involved with one another, aside from just, I want to fight you because you're the other dark, brooding guy. An easy fix to that is have Sting talk, because, Sting is a decent promo. He's got good charisma. But I think we wanted to do the nostalgia pop, which was doing The Undertaker versus The Crow.
I think the other solution to that, which again is a task, I'm not saying this is easy, is just to, and we do this with other feuds, is just to find an inciting incident. Find something that gets them in the same place at the same time and on the wrong side of a confrontation.
Yeah.
Something like that. But again, it's so hard to book these feuds because the structure, it almost writes itself, but it's hard to get angles out of it. It is just Sting arriving and confronting the Undertaker and them agreeing to a match.
Yeah.
And it's hard. And there was some good stuff in there too. The teleporting up to the rafters and stuff.
It was good. That actually. That was pretty cool. When Sting was looking down and the Undertaker noticed him, and then the lights went out and the Undertaker was up there with Sting, and then the lights went out again and the Undertaker was completely gone. It was like, yeah, I like that.
Yeah, I think there were some really good moments in there, but when you got to book out a whole feud.
Yep.
And that just never came together.
Yeah, it's the thing I struggle with. I struggle the most with week to week. It's pacing. I either go too slow or I go too fast, and it's just how I've always been. I've never had a pulse on the pacing. Yeah.
Yeah. Pacing is the hardest part for sure.
Yeah.
Because you find that sometimes where you're like, oh man, this has been such a great build. I'm really happy with what we've done. And then we get to the go home show and it's like, oh, we've done everything.
Yeah.
So yeah, no, I'm with you on that.
Yeah.
That's why I mean, that's one thing. Hopefully, people have noticed it. I've made a concerted effort over the last year, maybe in game, maybe less than a year, to improve the go home shows. I've specifically tried to make the go homes better, and I think it's gone okay. I think our go homes are better than they were.
I was literally going to say, I feel like that was a big problem in 04, but 05, I really had not noticed it too much. I'd never really thought of a go home show and been like, oh, fuck, everything's in place already. Typically, we did a pretty good job holding out until, or at least not just holding out, but having at least something extra to add on with those go home shows. Yeah.
Yeah, I think like on the one hand, it's been like when I've got like a show build that I'm really like invested in, I'll pick a moment, like a match or a story from the build where I'll be like, okay, this doesn't need to happen early. Like we don't need this to sell the show.
Right.
This can be on the go home. And then the other hand, when we're a bit less prepared and we're going into a go home and we don't have a big card, I've been more happy to say, fuck it. Let's make an exciting show where a lot of shit gets booked. And I think that's something you probably know. I think at one point I even got a reaction or you were like, whoa, it's all popping off tonight. And I was like, yeah, we're going to book the card. And that's exciting. So
yeah.
What's your worst story here on SmackDown for the year?
Oh yeah, it's Def Book Kennedy. I'm going.
Oh yeah, good show. Good show. All right, last question. That's the year in review. 2006, one to watch on Raw.
One to watch on Raw for 2006. That's a good question. Let me get over to Raw. Bit of like a slight bit of a cop out because we've already been actively doing things with him and pushing him and getting him there. But I think Bobby Lashley is poised to have a pretty big year in 06.
I agree.
And I think another good name to mention is Nitro, who once
Nitro's my name. Nitro's my name.
Especially
go
once
Bobby,
Rumble season calms down, I can definitely see Nitro starting to find a spot for himself amongst everything.
Yeah.
To where I just mean, like, obviously he's going to be doing things up until Mania. But I think afterwards we can actually sit down and say, who do we want Nitro to fight? Instead of just, where is it convenient for Johnny to go and all of this shit? Which is kind of what happened with him and Sean Hogan. It was like, we have this guy... Yeah. He has some similarities to Sean. That's pretty cool. He wants to be a big star. Hulk Hogan. Yeah, that works. Toss him in there.
What's his Can I see his pop history? Because he's very high.
Yeah.
That is surprisingly slow on the gains. I guess a lot of it was the M&M stuff. Yeah, that's interesting. I would have expected a more sharp increase all the way to 60, but he's been slowly gaining all year.
Yeah, I actually thought this was a little bit lower than it was. I thought he was like about here still, where he was before Hogan and Shawn matches. Like I thought he was about here.
So I thought he'd be in the yellows. Yeah, I thought he'd be way lower than that. That's really high.
Yeah.
That's easily that's Chavo Guerrero pre-push numbers. You know, you got a lot of explosiveness there. Yeah, I think if you're going with Lashley, Nitro's my guy. I think especially in the summer, he's going to be right up there in the spot where a lot of the old IC guys are. You know, your Randy's back when he was young, your Rob Van Dam's, your Renee's. However, two names I want to mention.
4 months, 1 week after Mania.
Yeah, we're gonna have to have a conversation when he's back because I don't think this is a period where I want him to be with Nitro. This is a Nitro single period. So
right. Right.
But
yeah.
Obviously, I like Eminem, but we're gonna have a conversation about that.
Yeah. I feel wrong completely not doing the tag team. You know what I mean? But I don't have a problem with maybe doing more of a tag team focus on them maybe a little bit later, even though obviously
because in real life they go back to it after the Nitro singles run.
They do, don't they? You're right.
Yeah.
Because he goes
to Raw, wins the IC title in the summer of 06. By the winter of 06, he's back in the tag team on SmackDown.
Yes, and then that's how Jeff Hardy gets involved, and then that's Eminem and the Hardys in late 06. Yeah.
And Dave and Taylor, Taylor and Regal, and there's another, and London and Kendrick. Those are the 4 teams in that infamous Armageddon ladder match where Joey Mercury gets fucked up.
Yeah.
Two names to mention on this ones to watch that are cop outs are last year's guy that I'm pretty sure I picked, which is Renee, who could very well just be on this again if he wasn't so well known. There's a chance that he isn't as explosive next year because we're going to get to the point where it's put up or shut up.
Yeah.
There's a good chance we shut up.
Yeah.
But he should be one to watch. There's no reason why, with his booking and his potential right now, he shouldn't be soaring. The other guy who's a cop out is John Cena, because he is one to watch. I can expect there's a very good chance he has a better year next year than he did this year.
I think,
but people already know that.
I think story wise, there's a very good shot that 06 is better.
There's also one guy I think I will talk about on Raw. I was wondering whether I would talk about it or not, but I'm gonna. Rob Van Dam. One to watch for next year.
Yeah.
SmackDown. I guess, yeah, since you went first on Raw, who should I plunk out? Oh, I know who I'm going to pick. It's Edge. Edge is the guy to watch for next year for sure. I mean, actually, I'll leave you talking. I'll leave that to you so you can talk about him more, because I definitely think he's more of your guy. For me, yeah, I think this is a valid pick. I'm going to go with Booker T. Yep. I think he's got a lot to do next year, and I think it's going to be really exciting.
I'm going to start with a cop-out pick. MVP. He just got here. Fun to watch.
Maybe. I don't know how high his ceiling is next year.
It's fair, yeah, for next year, but he's definitely going to, from where he is right now, he's definitely going to improve quite a bit, I believe.
I agree.
And then my legitimate choice is Ken Kennedy, who is poised to do some things next year. Some things.
Interesting. Now, I think Ken Kennedy and MVP have a very similar ceiling. And I'll back this up by saying they are essentially the same person by December of 2006.
See you in the tag division, boys.
Ooh. Probably not, but maybe.
Kennedy MVP.
You're gonna stick with Kennedy as your pick, really?
Yeah, I think I will.
Do you really think? So here's a question:
Sure.
Do you think his ceiling for us is higher than it was in real life?
No,
because what he did next year in real life isn't that impressive. It is impressive in a sense, but it's not that. Like, there are guys on this roster that I know for a fact are going to do a lot more. Right. And are in lower positions right now. Like the guy I was leaving for you. I'm surprised you didn't talk about him at all. But if you think Kennedy's going to be the biggest glow up next year, then fair enough to you. I
think from where he is now and what he's going to do next year.
But I think like Kennedy to like a 60s lower mid carder is like it is a jump, but like compared to the guys here who are just sitting on their hands who are going to be world champion next year.
Oh yeah, I mean, some of them are going to be world champion very soon. I stared in the
All right. Well, those are. I don't know if I caught all the questions from last year. I didn't go look at last year's video, but I think those were the general topic covered. Yeah.
Hit all the big ones. Randomly, one last thing I want to say. Shout out the FBI. Shout out. They've been good. Like I've enjoyed them.
Yeah. I'll join you on that. Shout out. I'm curious. I want to do some metric of which show has been better, Raw or SmackDown, this year.
A Patreon poll to me.
That's a good idea.
Sounds like a Patreon poll that launches with this video. Sure,
that sounds good. I'm definitely down for that. Tell us who you think did better this year, Raw or SmackDown. I mean, we should answer for ourselves what we think, and I'm gonna say, ooh, it's tough actually. Just like in real life, I think the SmackDown TVs have been better, and the Raw peak main events have been stronger.
Right.
I think I'm gonna go after you because I can pick either. I'll just pick the one you don't pick.
Yeah, I'll pick SmackDown because fuck Raw. No, I'll pick SmackDown because Raw's mid card has been fucking crazy in 05. It's been a lot of shit happening, a lot of changes.
for the worse, I assume, is what you're saying.
Yeah, by a lot of changes, I mean literally week to week, things will change. It happens, depending on how long we take a break.
I'm gonna go Raw then because I think their best stuff is irresistible.
It's true.
Batista breaking up Evolution, the Benoit Eddie Guerrero Mania feud, the Benoit John Cena SummerSlam feud, Triple H John Cena Survivor Series feud, their team coming together for Survivor Series, the aftermath to Survivor Series, the Flair Triple H stuff, and then Renee, all of his big money title matches, Shawn Michaels, Ric Flair, Chris Benoit, just their peak is so unbelievable.
Good mentions.
Now I do like that Patreon poll, but I was thinking maybe in game. Is there any numerical way we can do it? Maybe adding up the pay-per-views or something.
Sure. Yeah. If you, I can run through.
We can do that. We can do that after the video and post it up on Twitter or something. Sure. But the reason why I want to do it is I want to predict who's going to be higher on that metric next year.
Right, I hear you.
So I know, yeah, we won't sit down and work it out now. So if you're interested in numerically which show was better this year, I'll check it out on Twitter. Maybe if Tucker remembers, he can link the tweet in the description. I'll link it to you on Discord after maybe. But who do you think will be higher next year? We don't know we know the broad strokes of what we're doing in the main event pictures on both brands, but we don't know the minutia of how the mid card's going to end up being drafted. So that's obviously going to be like a big deal of it. My instinct is we're probably looking to push quality into the Raw's mid card without pushing pop into Raw's mid card because SmackDown kind of needs that.
Yeah.
We're probably going to sign a lot of people in April. I don't know. It's hard. I don't want to sign a shit ton of people.
Yeah.
But there definitely does need to be like 4 or 5 people into the mid cards.
I agree. It's striking that balance that's going to be difficult, honestly. And with who we sign as well, depending on who it is, we will have to make some different cases to each other.
Yeah. So yeah, with that in mind, that we could be completely off. I guess if we're looking strictly at pay-per-views, so like, brand exclusive pay-per-views, and then the main events that they put out for each of the co-branded pay-per-views. Which one do you think numerically in the game will do better next year?
Numerically next year, I'm gonna go with Raw.
Let's see here. Raw has that. SmackDown. SmackDown has a main event scene towards the end of the year that might not do so well. So I think I'm going to agree with you. We're both going for Raw.
We hit fucking Finley hell.
What do you mean? I tell you what. I'm going to make a prediction right now. This video next year, you're going to kick off with the Finley stuff was shit, and I'm gonna go, really?
So let's talk about it. Finley.
Yeah, I'm gonna be defending that shit till the day I die. All right, I'm out of conversation, so I don't know if you want to do anything else.
Not totally. No, I think I'm just about good as well. I think a lot of pretty decent conversation.
How did we make this longer than last year?
I have no idea. Dude, like literally we were at 1 hour and we were basically like halfway through, and now I look over and it's 3 hours. And I'm like, what? What just happened?
Or a few of those later talking points that we definitely tangented on, but
sure.
It was good.
But that's why people watch these things. They didn't want to hear us ramble about our shit.
I don't know. This is a very different piece of content to anything else we do on this series. That's for sure.
Yeah, that's
not a bad thing. I think there are going to be people that really like this because I think interestingly it'll be more the Twitch viewers that like this kind of stuff who watch us book every week, and this is very much this is more of a reflection on how we've booked everything, and you You do. I'm going to say it, even though I was a big defender of the content format when we started this, and I still think it's good. You do miss things watching the YouTube videos.
Oh yeah, you definitely do, and especially when like. Sorry, YouTube. I'm about to get real with you. Like the quality of the recapping of the storylines on the pay-per-views greatly fluctuates depending on any number of things. Like, how long did it take us to book the show? How long have we been like streaming in general? Are we just tired? Like, any number.
And then what mood am I in? Because usually, I don't like over explaining. I don't like those videos. I don't think we need to go super long on them all the time.
Right.
So I will, there are times where I'll push you to be like, yeah, we don't need to explain that. Let's move on to this and that. And so that can sometimes mean they're less detailed, but arguably better. Depends on what we're doing. And one of the good things, though, is that we said this about a recent pay-per-view. When we have had a very poor build, just because we've been really, we've been taking 2 weeks between episodes or whatever. We get to fix that a little bit with the pay-per-view.
We do.
Yeah. It's just like the real life WWE. If you watch every week, there's highs and there's lows. But if you just watch the pay-per-views, you get the best shit.
Exactly. You get the proper.
You get the best stuff, but you miss the like gems.
You miss seeing the gems as they occur. Like that's the big thing. Like I think you miss the. I mean, talking about watching actual wrestling, like you miss them as they occur, and I think that's it's a weird thing. I didn't really think it mattered, but I think it does. I think watching a wrestling show live and having something really cool happen live, unfolding in front of you, and you haven't seen anybody else talk about it or heard it through somebody else. I think it's you know what? I think it is good. His mic died, I think.
No, I was wondering if that was going to be the end of the show.
Oh, it just should have been. Okay, bye YouTube. Sorry.